it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We'll see what happens. We'll know in a very short period of time, but it looks like it could be something that will be not good. Believe me, not good.
I am a dissident.
Don't move. Move.
I'm saying no. Why you hear Palantir, 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 Palantir? It's not going to stop.
Seriously, we need to release the F-scene list.
Turns off.
I am not a church boy.
Turns off.
They're full-on vampires.
They hate our beef. They hate our beef. They hate our beef because our beef is beautiful and theirs is weak.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
Hello, dissidents. Welcome, one and all, to a Tuesday matinee edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. Keaton Weiss here with Russell Dobular, of course. You're muted. Did you mute your microphone?
Yeah,
No.
well, I'm getting distracted because, I have issues with this thing moving around in this hotel. What's up?
What's up, everybody? Great to see you all here. Thanks, everybody, very much for being here. Today, we got 562 to start things off here in the YouTube chat, 241 over on Rumble. Let's smash that like button, please. Let's get an even bigger crowd in here over the afternoon. For members, this is part one of a day-night doubleheader on the Do Dissidents podcast. I will be live for members for the State of the Union tonight with our friend Tusker. Tusker and I are going to be Mystery Science Theatering the State of the Union address. That will start at 8:45 p.m. Eastern for our members. So if you want to sign up, patreon.com/Do Dissidents. That'll get you access to that stream. We are doing that in lieu of a post game since it's a travel day for Russ. And so I know here Jesse said, please rethink making it private. It's a great way to gain audience. People are looking for live streams. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot of public live streams. And it's just one of those things where because it's a travel day, we can't do a post game. Also, we are now streaming our bonus content to Rumble Premium as well as the member feed. And we have to log a certain amount of hours with Rumble. That's the deal with them to make it work. So that's why we're doing this in lieu of a post game this week and this month. So like I said, between this and the film club, there's a little bit of reworking of the bonus content. We're in a little bit of a transition, but we'll get both of those done this week. Film club with Right Brain TV collaboration this Saturday, 8 p.m. We'll announce the film on Thursday. So we got it's a good week to sign up and become a member. Patreon.com/Do Dissidents. We will join all members later. Now, one thing about Rumble Premium is apparently, and I've been trying to figure this out, but apparently you have to start the stream as a public stream and then switch over to Rumble Premium. So a few minutes before we go live, for a minute or two, you Rumblers might see a stream pop up for State of the Union. That's going to be a members only stream. So you could join Rumble Premium or you can join us at our Patreon, Substack, or Locals. Either one doesn't matter to us, and we will see you for the State of the Union. We'll have a reaction that we'll probably clip. Just got to get Tusker's permission to clip the reaction, or else I can give a solo reaction. So we will have a clip to drop from later for the public, but we will be watching it live in the members only room. So that's coming up. Members will get an email shortly after the conclusion of the show today. All right, so stay tuned for that. What you got going on? You're traveling, right? You're on the road.
Yeah, I will be doing planes, trains, and automobiles today, man. A 6-hour bus ride back to Hanoi to go to the airport to take the plane to go to Hue. I am going to Hue.
On the way to Hue.
And actually, this is what I'm told. I was talking after I visited the Hua Lo prison. I talked about how really their focus is on the French colonization more than the American war. I was told by people who have been to the South that were on part of the Hill Tribe trek I was on, that it's not like that in the South. It's like that in the North because they controlled the North. Their only real experience directly was the bombing. And that's why that's what they talk about here. They talk about the bombing. Down South is where you really had the fighting with the American forces. And they told me, like, you see people who are burned from Agent Orange down there. Like, you see that in a lot of places. So that's actually going to be my first tour that really goes to those war sites that concern the American tour. I'm going to the DMZ. I'm going to the Highway of Death. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm going into tunnels that are not the VC tunnels, but the tunnels the Vietnamese civilians used to go into to protect them from the American forces. So yeah, apparently as you start to go south, you have more sites related to the American war. Like, I know that outside of Da Nang, I'm going to take a tour to My Lai. There's a memorial there to the massacre.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like an intense trip. Sounds like an intense trip.
It's going to be very interesting, man. It's going to be very interesting. Like, that's a huge part of what I'm interested to see in the country.
Yeah.
Like, to just see it from that point of view. It's been fascinating in the North. But yeah, going down south, going to those sites where it was really the fight with the VC, that's going to be really fascinating.
Yes. Yes, of course. All right. Well, we got 849 strong on the YouTube chat, 328 strong on Rumble. Let's smash that like button, everybody, please, so we get a nice big crowd in here. Let's get started. Lots of news to get to today. We're going to go with some somewhat local news for half of us at least. Still New Yorkers over here. There was a big blizzard in New York City over the weekend. Biggest in quite some time. I remember the blizzard of 96. I spent the blizzard of 96 home with a babysitter because my parents were working a craft show in New York City that weekend, even with the blizzard. It was a miserable time. But anyway, that's enough about me. Mayor Zoran Mondani tweets out, work alongside New York City's strongest as we get through this historic storm. Emergency shoveling pay. I sounded like, what's his name? Scott Bessenter. Emergency shoveling pay. I spoke all my words. Emergency shoveling pay is now $30 per hour. Walk into any sanitation garage to sign up today by 8 p.m. or tomorrow from 9 to 8. Here he is making the announcement.
Of our first blizzard since 2016. As DSNY lays down tens of millions of pounds of salt and sends out thousands of plows across our 5 boroughs, they've been working hard to increase the capacity of our snow shoveler program. They can now supervise up to 1,800 New Yorkers per shift. So that's where you come in. Due to the historic nature of this blizzard, we've increased pay to $30 an hour. And you can walk into any sanitation garage until 8 p.m. this evening and starting again from 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. All you need to bring is 2 forms of ID to ensure you get paid. So grab a shovel, bundle up, and be part of getting our city back in business as you help us clear snow off crosswalks, bus stops, and fire hydrants.
You can't just have the check delivered by carrier pigeon?
These goddamn commies are always up to something with the 2 forms of ID. You have to have 2 forms of ID.
You can't just get it in cash?
You can't just give me cash up front while I'm there. Yeah, no. Peachy Keenan, 2 forms of ID to shovel snow, 0 ID to vote for president. Make it make sense. Yeah, there's 68 IQ Peachy Keenan. That's what we have to start saying. These people, they're low IQ because that's a thing they love to throw around. IQ numbers. So that's a very low IQ tweet from Peachy Keenan. She's a low IQ white woman. Is what she is. Is this you? No to voter ID. Yeah, to ID for shoveling snow. Prince Panwar, low IQ Prince Panwar. You need 2 pieces of ID to do a $19 an hour job from Mondani, but no ID to vote for him. Let that sink in.
My God. Oh my God. What do we do?
Yeah.
That's sunk in. I'm terrified. I'm terrified of the implications of that tweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty unbelievable.
The dead are voting.
Because it's a job, fuck ass. You do that for every job in which you're being paid. Yes. I remember whenever I got hired to do something, I had to bring not only my license, but my social security card. You have to show 2 forms of ID. if you're going to get paid. Yeah, fairly normal stuff. Now, this guy, I love this guy's take. We've all seen you shovel. Hopefully you get some takers. Where's the money coming from, by the way? Yeah, I'm going to bet everything I own that this guy has never asked where the money comes from for ICE, where the money comes from for the military, where the money comes from for, the Iran strikes. I'm just going to take a guess. I don't know that for a fact because I don't know who this guy is. Neither does anybody else because he's unimportant. But I'm going to guess he's never asked that question. So here the geniuses keep coming. Yesterday on your website, says Joni Job, pay starts at $19.14 per hour and increases to $28.71 per hour after the first 40 hours worked in a week. Socialism versus capitalism. Ha, ha, ha. So I guess, what is this, an own because the capitalists have snowblowers? Okay, moron. New Yorkers don't own snowblowers because they live in apartments and they don't have driveways. So, yeah, you have a shovel to dig your car out of the parking space if you have a car, which most New Yorkers don't. That's why he's paying people to shovel, because most New Yorkers don't have cars, so they don't have to shovel the street. Right. It's not their business, much less snowblowers. So, yeah. Well, here is an example of socialism at work. So this tweet went extra viral here. Greg Diamond says, I'm not entirely sure how they did it, but they've completely cleared the streets around my office in Midtown, New York City. We received 20 inches of snow, but you'd never know. And that's the picture. And people accused him of faking this because it kind of looks too good to be true. So then he posts videos. He says, some more videos I shot today for those claiming this is fake. To be fair, it's really surprising. So I get the suspicion out there. Okay, so ready, folks? Trigger warning if you're offended by socialism in action. Yeah, there it is. The horror. That looks like, I guess, 6th Avenue. Right near my old office. Yeah, that's I used to work at Radio City Music Hall, the tour guide. Yep, there it is, right behind me. That's the Magnolia Bakery. Rockefeller Center. Yep, and there's the Radio City marquee on the left side. So there's some socialism. Here's some more socialism. The guy shot this from his office window. Look at this, cleared streets, and we've had 18 plus inches coming down pretty hard. So now you see, while it's coming down, streets getting plowed. Very few cars on the road, of course, which we'll get to soon. And then here's another shot. There's the after image right there. Or look at that. Wouldn't even know a snowstorm happened. They must have salted and plowed. Looks totally clear. That's the socialist dystopia.
That is pretty amazing.
Yeah. No, this is the socialist hellscape that everyone in the media was having their hair on fire over for a year straight. They told you if this guy becomes mayor, the city's going to collapse. Well, this is what you got in the blizzard. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. And there we go. He proves it. He showed you the snow falling and everything. So, in addition to that, Mamdani has this new thing now. I don't know how new the website is, but he tweeted out, locked loaded plowing, track our fleet in real time at nyc.gov/plow NYC. So you can track which streets have been plowed and how recently they've been plowed. So Trevor says, glory to the People's Republic of Mamdani's So the green streets are streets that have been plowed within the last hour as of the time that you're looking at the app. So that's quite a lot of green on the map. And then, of course, 1 to 3 hours is purple, 3 to 6 hours is yellow, 6 to 12 is orange. So you can see quite a lot of green on these maps, even in Manhattan, a lot of green on these maps. And one thing that'll make the socialists very happy is, notice the area that's most neglected. It's the Upper East Side. The Upper East Side, the wealthiest zip code, one of the wealthiest zip codes in America is right there. The Upper East Side had been plowed for 3 to 6 hours. In fact, if you take a very close look, that purple icon right near the end of that arrow, that's the Frick collection. And right behind the Frick collection is the orange zone. The orange zone had been neglected for 6 to 12 hours. You know what street? You know who lives on that street? Jeffrey Epstein. At least he used to, allegedly. Used to. That's right. That's
and you Jeffrey know who Epstein. Still lives there?
Lutnick. That's
Lutnick.
Right.
Yep.
So it's kind of funny how like 3 of the only streets that were neglected for 12 hours, for 6 to 12 hours, happen to be Jeffrey Epstein's and Howard Lutnick's street. Extra base, maybe intentional. We can hope we can come up with that version of events in our head. I like this.
How are we going to bring in the cheerleading team?
Yeah, exactly. What are your intentions with my daughter's son? Locked, loaded, plowing. Good. I like that one. That's a fun tweet as well. And yeah, New York has Mamdani fever. Everybody's feeling it, especially this guy. This guy's being asked about the nostalgia of this blizzard since it's the first blizzard in 10 years in New York City. And here he is with incredible message discipline, taking this opportunity to complain about private equity buying apartments.
There's still people out in doorways looking for shelter, and I think a lot of people think this is why we shouldn't allow hedge funds to own residential property.
And so what we were talking about earlier, too, is a little bit of the nostalgia aspect, right?
Yeah.
How this feels kind of like back in the 90s when we were
like
growing up.
nostalgia
like we were
for
saying,
affordable
it was
apartments.
much more snow, colder winters. And again, private equity didn't own so much of the housing stock in America.
Thank you so much, Kyle.
Well done. Well played. Look how she tried to get him back on message about the nostalgia. And
Hedge funds to own residential property.
And so what we were talking about earlier, too, is a little bit of the nostalgia aspect, right?
Yeah.
How this feels kind of like back in the 90s when we were growing up.
Yeah, like we were saying, it was much more snow, colder winters. And again, private equity didn't own so much of the housing stock.
Thank you so much, Kyle.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to get
that
out
guy
of
said it on the Patreon stream.
Yeah, exactly. He's got to watch the State of the Union later. Looks like a pretty job well done by Mamdani here on this blizzard. Getting things done. The city seems to be feeling it. But despite this, Andrew Cuomo, for some reason, still feels a need to pretend that he's the mayor. So Andrew Cuomo, in advance of the blizzard, tweets out, how to prepare. I like how he talks like the, where is he from? Brooklyn or Queens? One of the outer boroughs. How's to, really talking in the Walnuts lingo. How's to prepare for a snowstorm? How's to, not how to. How's to. What were you saying?
No, his father went to St. John's.
Oh, okay. Queens, that's right. How's to prepare for a snowstorm? Engage the utilities, bring in private contractors, strategically pre-deploy assets. 100 National Guard didn't work last month with 11 inches. It certainly won't be enough for what's coming now. I discussed that and more tonight on Pulse of the People on 77 WABC. So I guess he's just role-playing as mayor for like the Sid Rosenberg audience. I guess they just get to pretend that he's the mayor. Right. Because he's advising Mamdani on how to prepare for the snowstorm. So I just said, just a reminder, you're not the mayor. You're a disgraced 2-time loser who no one cares about. And I almost ratioed him. I got 130 likes. He only got 150. He has no Twitter game at all. None.
No.
Sad. Here is another genius. So this you could imagine probably one of the Cuomo voters here. Mayor Mamdani says Maria D'Angelo. Yeah, this is a very Maria D'Angelo-like comment. Yeah. Mayor Mamdani has just issued an order forbidding New Yorkers from entering or leaving NYC from 9 p.m. tonight until noon tomorrow. His administration is filled with some of the most despicable extremists, radical socialist communists who despise white people and property owners like Say Weaver and a whole slew of anti-Semites. Yes, there is a blizzard about to hit, and yes, people should not be driving. But every time he opens his mouth, I feel less safe. What the hell does that mean?
Why don't you leave? Why don't you leave? As a resident of the city, I am fucking begging you to move to Florida.
Well, first of all,
go.
What the hell does this even mean? Like she contradicts herself because an order forbidding New Yorkers from entering or leaving. It's called a state of emergency where you're supposed to keep off the roads. They have that all the time. When there's severe weather, whether it's a blizzard or a tropical storm or whatever, there's a state of emergency. So you stay off the roads. It's especially important to stay off the roads in New York City. Otherwise, the plows literally cannot get through. So there was a state of emergency. They had to stay off the roads. And she acknowledges that. She says, yes, there's a blizzard about to hit, and yes, people should not be driving. Okay, so then what's your problem? I think your problem is that you're an irrational lunatic. But hey, she earns her dissident bona fides by defying the stay-at-home order, which is not a stay-at-home order, and taking a walk around Central Park. The travel ban made me want to go out immediately and see for myself how bad it is. Snow is just starting to stick and winds are picking up a little, but I was able to do a loop around the reservoir. Yeah, you're allowed to walk around the park. It doesn't mean you literally have to stay inside. It means you can't drive around because there's plows on the streets. That's what we're talking about.
You see, I mean, this is where I prefer Buffalo to New York, because Buffalo, they'd find this woman the next day like Jack Torrance in the
yeah. She'd freeze. Yeah. So, for example, there was a snowball fight in Washington Square Park, enjoying the outdoor blizzard fun. So you didn't have to stay inside. You just couldn't go out on the road. This is life under tyrannical, socialist, communist, anti-white Zoran. They are in Washington Square Park. And the MAGA.
Won't someone think of the children?
Yeah, exactly. The MAGA's seeing New Yorkers so happy. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well played there. And new polling. Zoran Mamdani, 68% favorable, 20% unfavorable, highest from any politician, most popular politician amongst his constituents, in America as of now. It seems
of any, like they're including all offices, everything.
I mean, according to their polling, I guess. I mean, they can't poll everywhere, but according to where they've polled, highest rated from any politician. So I wanted to do this segment. We're going to do another segment about Mamdani. I'll tease it right now because another W that he racked up this week was evicting an Israeli drone supplier from the Brooklyn Navy Yard. We'll get more into that in the next segment. That'll be clipped separately. But, the most important thing that a mayor can do is manage the nuts and bolts of the city. And, he seems to understand that in a way that is shocking to the dogmatic, brainwashed boomers who were sure that New York City would collapse under Mamdani's leadership. Well, you've had a very, very heavy snowfall this winter, and he seems to be getting pretty good marks for it, certainly from this storm. If you look at the efficiency of this plowing operation, pretty damn good. Like I said, except for Jeffrey Epstein's block, which literally, I mean, that's the case. Look, the only 3 streets on the Upper East Side surrounding 71st Street, that's what hadn't been plowed. Aside from that, when you look, I mean, this is like I said, it's a good thing to demonstrate that this goes a long way towards demonstrating that socialism is not the dystopian sort of hellish fantasy world that so many in this country have been brainwashed into thinking it is. These kinds of successes go a long way, just showing you can manage the nuts and bolts of governing a major city of 8 million people, and doing it seemingly as smoothly as he did. It's important. It's important because what do we hear all the time? We've heard it. I've heard family members say, well, yeah, I mean, the homes up here are going to get more expensive, meaning in the Hudson Valley, once Mamdani wins, because they're all going to leave. No, they're not. First of all, no, they haven't. Second of all, as you can see, it's fine. It's arguably better than it's been in the past 10 years or so. I mean, this is the heaviest snowfall that they've seen in a decade, but seems a job well done.
Yeah, well, when you look at the recent mayors that New York has had, Adams was a half-bright criminal, and Bloomberg was, he was a party apparatchik who was in the right place at the right time to win. He won against a very weak field and very disliked opponents in that primary. People were very sick of the Giuliani-Bloomberg era. By then, any Democrat pretty much would have won. This is the first talented mayor you've had in a very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I Okay, I mean, we want to be fair. Giuliani was talented in a sacrifice to go to the Prince of Darkness
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
way.
he had a charisma
Like,
that fit
like
the
he was
time.
talented if that's your thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was probably the last mayor that you would say had a talent for the job.
Right.
Mamdani, whatever you think of him, and I want to step on the next segment. I think we're going to talk about that more there. Overall assessment of Mamdani and what that means. But he's very talented. He's a very good politician. This does not surprise me at all. Like, Mamdani is, in a lot of ways that are good ways, a good politician. What are you supposed to do as a politician? Take care of your constituents. That's why when people had a meltdown about him meeting with Trump, our take was, well, what's he supposed to do? Like, you want him to completely screw the people who voted for him by antagonizing this famously mercurial infant who could just cut off federal funding to the city if he decides he doesn't like this guy. You notice you haven't seen him say anything about Mamdani since he had that visit. He treated him like his son. Took posed for a picture with FDR's portrait, which was completely Mamdani trolling him and knowing he was too stupid to understand what he was doing to him by putting him in front of that portrait and taking a picture. Yeah, man. He's skilled. He's very skilled. And again, I don't want to step on the next segment, but this was the argument that we made at length at the time when all of this, debate on the left started to erupt about Mamdani. You could like him, you could not like him, you could hate him. You own him, whether you like it or not. That guy is going to represent what socialism means in the minds of the public, much more than your blog's gonna, much more than your comments on Twitter are gonna. That's what people are looking at, and that's why they're melting down.
Yes,
because
of course
he's good at the job. This doesn't surprise me at all. I would have been surprised if he had not been prepared, because in New York, the national election question, who would you like to have a beer with? In New York, the question is, how does he handle a snowstorm? Yes. It really is. Like, that is the New York question of, is this a good mayor? I would have been shocked if Mamdani had not thought that through and put all the elements in place to make sure that he passed that test when it came. And in a way, because he did, he got lucky that you had so much snow right after he got into office. So he was able to really turn that into a flex and show, yeah, no, I'm not incompetent. Now, of course, being in a socialist country here where people, for the most part, seem pretty happy, and there's a lot of prosperity, and there's a lot of entrepreneurship. There's a lot of business going on. It definitely puts this whole debate into perspective. They want you to think that the Soviet Union was the definition of communism and socialism, that's the only definition, it's the only example. And when that collapsed, that was the end of the discussion. Meanwhile, you have all of these countries, rather populous countries like, I don't know, China, where that debate resolved a very different way. That debate between socialism and capitalism, it wound up settling on a Marxist-Leninist ideology. Now, a lot of people will point out, well, it's state capitalism, they have capitalism. I mean, true communism is something that, if you talk to communists, they'll say it's an ideal that's not achievable at where we are in our evolution as a society. You're going to have elements of capitalism at this time. But the idea that in these countries, everyone's going to be repressed, they're going to be unfree, they're going to have the state riding their back. I am telling you, I am a podcaster talking about this country, its government, the way it's run on social media. Nobody's watching me, man. Nobody's paying attention to me. Nobody checked me going through the airport. We talked about that the other night. Like, when you look at this whole conversation, you can really see, because the oligarchs, because the corporatists won in America, with like more than any place else, like really won. They've just spent over a century propagandizing people to the point that's really incredible. Like, you've really convinced people to hate themselves and to hate any idea that society could be more humane. Like, they've taught people to hate the idea of any kind of collective effort, of any kind of mutual aid or joint support. Like, they've made, if you look at this, if you look at getting angry at the idea of paying people to go shovel snow,
right?
For one thing, that contradicts their own professed beliefs. Well, you get a job. Well, okay, so people, they're going to go out, they're going to grab a shot. That's hard work, man. It's hard. We've all shoveled snow.
That ain't easy.
You want to do that?
In New York City, it's really hard work. It once took me literally 5 hours to dig my car out of New York City snow, because it's so thick and so icy and so heavy. And when the plows just bury your car into it, man, it is brutal work shoveling in New York City.
Right. So, I mean, even in terms of your ethos, you should be like, yeah, I guess socialism's not what I thought it was. He's putting people to work. He's sending people out to get a job. Look, I in terms of like the nuts and bolts and all of that, that's something we can discuss. I'm not saying, oh my God, this is a perfect society. But what I will say is, I think anyone who really examines different cultures would agree that the ideal that the culture has affects the choices that people make on an individual level, and the way that government is structured and what people expect from the government. If the ideology of the country, if the basic ideal, if everywhere you look, you see a hammer and sickle, and you do in Vietnam, everywhere, hammer and sickle, private businesses, public streets, everywhere. What is the message? Society should be centered on workers. That's the message. That's the overall ideology. Now, given that there are always going to be more workers than managers, right? You're always going to need, well, I mean, with the advent of AI, maybe not, but up to now. So how do they get the people to not drag them out of their mansions and put them on trial? You got to brainwash them. You got to break their brains. That's what I say, man. When I see tweets like that from that woman, yeah, everything he says scares me. You're broken, man. You're broken. They broke you. They start breaking you in public school, and then they keep breaking you in the media. And now they break you on social media. This is the only way the capitalists can maintain control. They have to make you hate the very things that would make life worth living.
Well, in New York, you're right. This was always, it was a question mark to me, because a lot of times, when people are, ideologically committed to, certain projects that are sort of outside the Overton window, sometimes, because that in itself is kind of exciting, they can overlook the nuts and bolts of actual governance. Right. And in New York City, the mayor is as good as the train schedule is reliable, as the garbage pickup is on schedule. Like, if you don't get those things right, nothing else matters, because you're done. You're a lame duck. But in this case, he's got a very, very early test here, and seems to have passed it. That alone, aside from the sort of more ideologically based political projects, based in the, traditional meaning of the word, then that alone goes a long way to debunking so much of the fear mongering, which is, it's going to collapse into a hellhole as soon as he takes over. Well, obviously not. All right. Vianticus Prime says everything's a scam, everything's a lie, everything's hypocrisy, and so you know the thing. Thank you, Vianticus. Eric Rousseau, sounds like Trump's armada has a gigantic shit. It can't take America. Yeah, we're going to get to that. We are going to get to that. Nocturnal Human says, I haven't forgot the $2,000 Trump promised at the last one of these. He said there's going to be $2,000 for every person. Watch for that. Oh, yeah, at the State of the Union. Yeah, for sure. The New York Times op-ed, PDFphilia, a disorder, not a crime. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Profanosaurus Rex, will you be adding a bonus hole? Huh? Good one. Eric Rousseau, are there commie ladyboys, or is that just a Western thing? Well, the ladyboys are mostly in Thailand, right? Profanosaurus Rex says, correction with your bonus content, will we be getting a bonus hole? Context matters. Thank you, Profanosaurus Rex. All right, you got some super chats over there?
I do, and I just want to address a conversation going on the side here, because I see this a lot. This comes up a lot. Okay, I was never a Hillary voter. I came into 2015 a supporter of Hillary. It was kind of a holdover from the Clinton years, Gen X. We were all big Clinton fans, and I was definitely like, yeah, I was an MSNBC guy, but that was what changed me. My whole life, there has always been a guy like Bernie Sanders in every election cycle, and there was never like any real prospect of them winning, right? It was, they were kind of like an oddity. That was the first time in my life that, because of the unique forces at work in that election, it was pretty clear that this guy could actually win if he got the nomination. And like a lot of people, man, like Jimmy Dore, like a lot of people, particularly around my age, that's how we got red pilled, man. Not in the conservative sense, in the true matrix sense. That's how we got red pilled, because we saw how the media reacted to him, and we saw how the Democratic Party reacted to him. There had never been a test case. There had never been a guy talking that kind of thing who could win. So we had never seen the way they would react to that. And as a result, they were able to maintain that fiction that they want those things. And that completely lit that fiction on fire. So we weren't even out of 2015 when I had flipped to Bernie. Like, once I saw this guy could actually win, I moved to Bernie. But I did start out theoretically supporting her before I turned around. And boy, was that an education. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. As soon as I came out for Sanders, I was so politically naive. I didn't understand that Democrats weren't left. You know what I mean? I got such, and again, I'm sure many of you can relate, such fury from people who were Hillary supporters. So, I mean, the drill, but that's the case. I never actually voted for her. All right. So, Mishutski, super sticker. Thank you. Heavy snack. These Fox boomers love to say turn Iran into a parking lot, as if Israel and the U.S. weren't running low on defensive missiles during the 12-day war. Well, wait until you see my segment. It's not just the missiles they have to worry about. It's the ass missiles.
Yeah.
They don't know where to put them. Heavy snack. What will come of Trump and the neocons if Iran sinks our boats? We lose tens of thousands of service members. We retreat as Israel is raised. And then China invades Taiwan as the U.S. Navy is weakened and busy fixing toilets. So,
yeah,
you know where I'm going.
That's what they call the doomsday scenario.
Yeah. I mean, this military, as we'll see in my report, look, man, you can't have this number of crackpots running things. You can't have a system this corrupt and really maintain operational effectiveness. Like, that corruption is bound to affect systems on levels you can't even anticipate, which we'll get to. Matt from Wisconsin. In my opinion, rock, pop, and country are in a 20-year downward spiral, while indie music has been consistently okay, and metal just keeps getting better. Keaton, have you been dabbling in any modern metal recently?
No, thanks for the question. I haven't been dabbling in much of modern anything lately. It's part of why I started the podcast, was to get back into stuff, but part of it is to take recommendations. So yeah, if you have recommendations, please do send them my way. The show is youtube.com/@shufflepod. It's called The Shuffle. Please go and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me if you did that. I just dropped a video this morning. I reviewed the U2 Days of Ash EP. Bono's big political statement.
The new one?
EP. Yeah, I gave that a very generous 2 stars. I was very kind to it. Gave it 2 out of 5. Very kind. But you can watch the whole thing over there if you'd like. But thank you for that. But yes, I mean, if you have recommendations, send them my way. That's part of the point of doing it. I don't claim to be an expert. I just, I want to find new stuff and help you find new stuff as well.
Texas Real 007. The crappers are backed up on the Ford carrier. May stop a shitty war. Yeah, I'm going to cover that, man. Sparky Russell, do you mean burned from napalm? Yeah, that's what I mean. Agent Orange caused other horrible health issues. Yeah, I mean the napalm. That's what I'm told, that once you go down south, you start to see victims of the American war.
Right. Okay. Is that everything for now?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. We'll go on to part 2 here. All right, folks. So here is some more base news from the People's Republic of New York City. The People's Republic of Brooklyn, as it's been called in the past, but living up to its name. Brooklyn Navy Yard evicts New York City drone maker Easy Aerial over alleged Israel ties. This from the Cry Harder Post. I mean, the Jerusalem Post, the reporter here. The city-owned Brooklyn Navy Yard Development Corporation, BNY, will not renew its lease with New York City manufacturer Easy Aerial. New York City City Council member Lincoln Ressler revealed on X last week, citing the manufacturer's supply of drones to Israel. So Easy Aerial is leaving the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Brooklyn Navy Yard leadership made the right decision last month to not renew their lease. This public asset should not be leasing space to companies producing drones that are being transformed into weapons of war. Ressler noted that the decision was made in January 2026, but was formally acted upon at a board meeting last week, where it would have essentially been the final chance to renew. I've been in close touch with BNY leadership and I'm grateful for their decision, Ressler added. However, BNY spokesperson Claire Holmes said the decision was made for business reasons related to operational and campus compliance matters, according to the New York Post. Like any landlord, we evaluate renewals based on adherence to lease terms and campus policies. The organization Demilitarized Brooklyn Navy Yard applauded the decision on its social media, noting that the announcement followed over a year of pressure and campaigning for BNY to evict Easy Aerial. So here is an example of their social media campaign. Sign a petition demanding Brooklyn Navy Yard Development Corporation evict Easy Aerial and cry precision. Every single action, every sticker put up, and every letter they received contributed to our coordinated effort to evict this fascist weapons manufacturer, the group said in its post. U.S. Representative Elise Stefanik condemned BNY's choice to evict Easy Aerial, calling it deeply disturbing on X. So here is, current congresswoman, retiring congresswoman, and failed gubernatorial candidate, launched a campaign and then canceled it. She was doing horribly. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to see her wherever she showed up. It went terribly for her. Deeply disturbing, says Elise Stefanik. We need more voices strongly condemning this taxpayer-funded anti-Semitism from the New York City mayor's office. Nothing to say about taxpayer-funded office space going to drone manufacturers. Nothing to say about that, no. A New York City manufacturer that supplies drones to Israel to monitor the Gaza Strip border was booted from the city-owned Brooklyn Navy Yard 6 weeks after pro-Palestine mayor Zohran Mamdani took office. And yes, the New York Post reports Friday the 21st, Saturday, something like that. Pressure from pro-Palestine Mamdani spurred drone company's ouster from Brooklyn Navy Yard, according to its CEO. The head of a drone manufacturing company whose clients include the IDF said his business is being booted from the city-run Brooklyn Navy Yard because of New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's pro-Palestine agenda. The Brooklyn Navy Yard Development Corporation, whose board members serve at the pleasure of the mayor and manage a 300-acre industrial park, announced last week it was not renewing the company's lease, citing business reasons. Shahar Abu Hazira, CEO of Easy Aerial, told the Post Thursday he has since learned through private conversations with Navy Yard board members that Mamdani, who was sworn in as mayor January 1st, is behind the ouster that ends the company's 7-year relationship with New York City. Quote, they told me there definitely was pressure from the mayor's office and recommended not fighting it, he said. So as much as this is a victory for Mamdani, it's perhaps even more a victory for that activist group that campaigned for a year to get this done. And if I had to guess, what I guess happened is that the board decided not to renew the lease because they figured, hey, you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of overlap between members of activist groups like this and, you know, rank and file Mamdani supporters and volunteers. Yeah. Whereas if we renew this lease, it's going to be a big problem with these people. And so we don't want the headache. And so let's just get rid of them. I don't think there was a top-down order from Mamdani to get rid of them. But this is a perfect example about how local organizing can put pressure on people to do what you want them to do once you get the politician that you want in there. Even if the politician himself doesn't make the decision, I would bet a whole lot that the decision-making went down the way I just said. Hey, it's going to be a big problem with these groups if we renew the lease, and they're big Mamdani supporters, so let's just evict them. And that's what happened. And so that's a perfect example of winning. That's how you win. You organize, you protest, you raise consciousness, and then if you get the guy in who you want to get in, now he is beholden to you to the point where the people under him are like, you know what? Let's not make waves. Let's just get this IDF drone supplier out of here. And that's what they did. And under Andrew Cuomo, I'm telling you that almost certainly would not have happened because they would have felt no such pressure to do it. Same for this. Mayor Mamdani and Governor Hochul launch free childcare for 2-year-olds in New York City. Governor announces investments to deliver universal childcare for New York children under 5. And then Mamdani, of course, endorsed her for governor, which a lot of people were very unhappy about. But again, this is how you do it. If she secures you the funding to expand childcare, you give her the endorsement. You don't give her the endorsement for nothing. You get something big from her, and this is something big. New York City's 3K and pre-K applications, 50,000 families apply in 2 weeks. So the deadline for enrollment in pre-K is this Friday. They got 50,000 enrollees, which is about half of the total enrollees from last year within the first 2 weeks. So we're going to know by the end of this week, probably early next week, by the time they put the numbers out, what the total enrollment is. But it's not first come, first serve. You have until the deadline to register. And so most families register very close to the deadline. So estimates are you're going to have record enrollment in universal pre-K, largely because of these funding increases. Mamdani defends eliminating executive orders on anti-Semitism, boycotting Israel, striking down the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism as was imposed by Eric Adams, and as we know for certain would have been imposed by Andrew Cuomo. This is the really big one. Mamdani appoints new rent guidelines board majority setting stage for promised rent freeze. So it looks like you are going to get that rent freeze after all. So that's quite a list of wins there. You got the IDF supplier evicted from the Navy Yard. You got, for the first time ever, universal pre-K for 2-year-olds, what should be record enrollment for universal pre-K across the board. And then you have, obviously, this rent freeze and the elimination of the IRA definition of anti-Semitism. Now you're also going to have steps back. Mayor Mamdani will bring back homeless encampment sweeps after vowing to end practice. What I think happened here was he got spooked by the fact that 19 people died during that cold snap, and he decided to continue them. He gave this kind of bullshit answer. Well, we don't think they froze to death. We thought they were overdose deaths. And so, but I have a feeling he's kind of concerned that that policy was not really made for winter. And so ultra rare W from the National Review. This is just kind of funny. Compassionate left-wing activists outrage Mamdani is saving homeless people from freezing to death. I think that's what happened. I think he got spooked by that occasion. But then obviously you have shit like this. Zohran Mamdani parrots CIA lies to justify sanctions and war against socialist Cuba and Venezuela, calling into question the legitimacy of the elections in Venezuela. And he got shit from both sides for this, because even though this was enough to piss off many in our space, don't forget, he also gets shit from places like the Manhattan Institute for not condemning them. If you were to listen to these people, he would have they would have you think he sounds just like us. So when it comes to a guy like Mamdani, I think if you're lucky, you're going to get 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's probably going to be, when everything works out, more like 1.25 steps forward, 1 step back. But the other option is to simply pretend that no, all of this that I just showed you here, all of this would have happened had Andrew Cuomo become mayor. And that's just not true. You're just deluding yourself into despair and paralysis if you're going to tell yourself that you would have universal pre-K for 2-year-olds, increased enrollment and investment in universal pre-K. You certainly would have that IDF drone manufacturer there. There's no way they would have been evicted. The only reason they were, in my opinion, is because they knew that those activists were big Mamdani people, and
Sure.
he's the mayor, so they had to make him happy. Otherwise, they're going to have a big problem on their hands. And so to pretend that there's just no difference. Oh, well, no. Voting for Mamdani was a complete waste of time, and you're a complete dupe if you did. Well, if that's what your opinion is, then you have to explain to a parent who's going to be able to drop her 2-year-old at daycare for free now so she can go to work and earn money to take care of them. You're going to have to explain to them why that's really not important. You're going to have to make a case that getting IDF weapons suppliers out of public office space is not important. You're going to have to explain to working people who are now going to save a few $1,000s a year on their rent why that's not important to them. So, I think, when you look at the first couple of months here, on balance, I think you've already put a lot more wins on the board than a lot of people expected. And I think that is important. And I think, wins beget more wins, and losses beget more losses, and despair begets further despair. And so we haven't done a Mamdani story in a while, but I thought as a first sort of 60-day summation, we should take a look in light of this big snowstorm, pardon me, where he was really put to the test, that we should, take a look back and take stock of the first 60 days.
All right. I think me and Keaton are on the same page. I think we've been pretty clear that we believe the system is not fixable at this point, that it needs to be replaced with something else. That having been said, even if you do want to replace it with something else, if you want to convince enough people that your vision of a more socialist society is what needs to replace this one, well, you need some positive PR, right? Especially given how effectively our oligarchs have brainwashed people into hating any kind of collective effort, convincing people, no, well, then, you run out of other people's money, all that shit. You got to get past that. You got to get past that brainwashing. A figure like Mamdani pushes the Overton window. Having a handsome, charismatic, capable representative of your ideology, even if you feel that he doesn't really adhere to your standards, in the minds of the public, this guy is carrying the banner of socialism right now. So you had better hope that he succeeds. Most people are not listening to internecine fighting online, right? Their idea of socialism is this guy. The more he succeeds, the more room you have to open up that conversation, the more room you have to open up that debate. And yes, if every time a figure like this wins, all you do is shit on them, it's demoralizing. It's demoralizing. And I think a lot of the personalities that are attracted to the space, frankly, reflect that, because healthy people don't want to be involved in a constant bitch fest. So it feeds on itself. You wind up with incapable people who are, frankly, emotionally disturbed, who like to be in a headspace of constant failure. They like that because that's what they expect. That's how they look at life. And being in the left, that's what it is for them. It's just a constant series of failures and betrayals, and they get off on it. That's not a political movement. That's a group therapy session without an actual goal of treatment, right? That's just a bunch of people sitting in the day room at the lunatic asylum ranting. That's not a meaningful political movement. You're not going to get anything out of that. It's not that you should stay quiet like party loyalists do when, oh, Joe Biden said another racist thing, but we can't talk about it. I'm not saying that. Like with the Venezuela, with the Cuba stuff, like absolutely go after them. But at the same time, when you got this guy passing universal pre-K, listen, if you want Americans to start to think more like they think here, where when they see a hammer and sickle, it's something they see as representing them and not as a threat, as they've been brainwashed to do. You need to have more examples of socialist thinking put into practice and let them experience it for themselves in that way. Like, socialism means that I don't have to give up half my paycheck to childcare.
Right.
Oh,
exactly.
That's what socialism is. You want them to have that experience, even if you feel, and I feel this way, that you need a revolution, that you can't really fix this system one child care program at a time. At the same time, when those things are done, you need to support them because it's going to make people much more open to your argument.
Well, you have to create a very simple cause and effect. Okay, when you elect the furthest left candidate in the race, what happens? You get to send your kid to pre-K for free. And I have to just make, I think this is a super important point. You can change the system like this. This is changing the system. That doesn't mean Mamdani is changing the system. It means that the organizers to evict this weapons manufacturer are changing the system. Okay, and it was because they were not blind Mamdani stands that the board felt they better evict these people, because they knew that if they didn't, it was going to be a problem for Mamdani, because the people who organized for this probably organized for Mamdani as well. And it would cause a real dip in political support if they didn't give them this win. So it was the organizers who supported Mamdani, but probably with conditions, right? In other words, we're not just going to stand for you when you piss in our face, right? You're going to have to deliver. That's what made the city government accountable to the activist movements. It was that synergy of organizing to evict this weapons supplier and supporting the candidate who you feel is most likely to do so, and therefore is going to feel incentivized to do so, if not compelled or commanded to do so, once they win. This is how you change the system. This is how you have nonviolent political revolutions, one town at a time. Okay, so this drone supplier is going to need new office space somewhere, right? So what if the city where they tried to move to has a group organized saying, nope, not here. And then they go to the next city and you organize, you say, nope, not here. You do that place by place by place, and that does change the system. That's what the Uhuru movement does in St. Louis. You need groups like that to put pressure on your local politicians to say, no, this drone supplier is not welcome in our town. If every town in America had organizers like that, guess what? This drone supplier would have no place to go. Now, they are going to settle somewhere where there's not an organization like this, but that's why you have to start organizations like that. Yeah, they're going to go to Florida, right? But that's why you need organizations like this everywhere. And that's how you create revolutionary energy, by organizing and then making your government accountable to you. That is what happened here. That is how this happened. They didn't get here by voting for Mamdani and supporting him unconditionally no matter what he did. But they also didn't get here by shitting on the guy all day, every day, because then guess what? Then he has no reason to do what you want anyway. Because he's like, if they're just going to hate on me anyway, then fuck it. We'll let him stay. This was the exact right strategy. That is the exact kind of political organizing and energy that needs to be replicated everywhere. That's a huge success story. It's a W for Mamdani, but it's a huge victory for those organizers. And those organizers have it exactly right. And it's because of them that this happened. And it's because their guy won that this happened, because that guy who won is now accountable to them. That's how it works. That's how it works. And yes, little by little by little, piece by piece by piece, you can have revolutionary momentum out of stories like this. And that's why I thought it was important to highlight that.
Yeah, I think part of the mindset of a lot of the left, because so much of the left as constituted in America now came out of the Bernie campaign and disillusionment with the Bernie campaign. The combination of that experience with the fact that that experience accompanied the rise of the independent media podcast space, which favors negativity in terms of the algorithm. I think those things have been a deadly combination, because you got a combination of disillusionment and the incentivization of commentators to be negative and to shit on everything. You put those two things together and you wind up with, exactly what they want. A left that just sits and, navel gazes with its thumb up its ass, bitching about anyone that tries to do anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When you read in your newspaper that this weapons company is going to rent space in your town, get together with people and see if you can do something about it the way these people did in Brooklyn. That's how you win. That's how it happened. Great news so far today. Oh, don't worry. The other shoe's dropping. Bad news is we're going to war with Iran, and your lunch is poison. That's coming up. That's coming up next.
That's
so
coming
don't
up
you worry.
next.
This isn't too off-brand.
We got a lot more news.
Exactly. All right. You got some super chats over there?
We do. Kirky. The problem with socialism is that it tends to help everyday people. Why would you want to do that? Yeah, exactly. Xander Vorkov, glad your vacation is going so well, Russ. I keep saying this, man. This is not a vacation. This is exhausting. This is like a fucking endurance contest, man. To keep packing up and moving every few days for 4 months. You're not talking about a month. You're talking about 4 months, man. This is a lot, but it's an education. Just watch your back so those sneaky reds don't sap and impurify your precious bodily fluids. Too late. Those commies hypnotized me with that fireworks show. Xandor Vorkov. Also, isn't fishback a derogatory slur against viewers of the TPUSA
Good
halftime show?
Good one.
Mobile Vulgus. We had universal childcare in San Antonio, and no one thought it was socialism. SA is a very purple city and one of the most economically segregated.
Is it purple now? It's interesting because, I guess Trump did really well with Latinos last year. So I guess it would have been maybe more purple in recent years, because I always thought San Antonio and Austin were big blue strongholds. Austin probably still is, although maybe not now with all the tech bros moving in. But it's still probably more blue than red, just not as blue as Austin used to be like Portland, basically. Right. But San Antonio, okay, that's more purple. All right, we'll see how that goes this year.
Burning the worlds in Israel, you get free healthcare, free childcare, free housing, and they still will fight us socialists. So no, a society doesn't sympathize with socialism once their life improves. Not necessarily. Israel is a very unique situation.
Yeah, they're dependent on us, so they can't tout. Yeah. They can't tout that. They can't say this is socialism, because then we'll have a freak out.
We'll get mad.
Yeah, we'll get angry. Exactly. Maybe not. Maybe maybe if we're Israel's bitch, maybe that's the key. Maybe Israel needs to become communist, and then we'll become communist too. The whole world will follow. The whole West will follow.
Yeah. Well, the early
the UK will put Ayn Rand on a banned book list because it's anti-Semitic. That's what you need. You need to make capitalism anti-Semitic, and that's the key. Yeah.
That is. The early Zionists offered Zionism as a very warped version of socialism. That's why you had the kibbutzes. The kibbutzim are, a socialist experiment. They're essentially communes.
Right. All right. You got you're done with yours? I'll take some. All right. What do we got over here? Biden, the New York Times op-ed. Oops, sorry, got that one already. What are we doing? Okay, sorry. Vienticus, there you go. My neighbors and I were talking about the blizzard of 96 yesterday, and we were all helping each other shovel all the snow. Man, I couldn't get rid of all that snow back then. That was insane, that blizzard. That literally covered the cars. Like, you're talking about 4 feet up in my area. Like, cars were buried under it. You wouldn't even see the car. That was unbelievable. Nocturnal Human, just let RFK Jr. out in the streets with a straw. He'll clear it up. Ha, good one. We're announcing the new felching brigades to clear the snow. Vienticus Prime.
You get paid in gratification.
Yeah. Was that a felching joke or a cocaine joke? Because it's snow, right? You can snort coke through a straw too. All right. So that works. That works. That's a double pronged joke. I like it. We'll call that a twofer. Vienticus Prime, I just had a random thought you might enjoy. From now on, to piss off the chuds, I'm going to say Musleo-Christian values. Oh, there you go. All right. Got it. All right. Let's move on. Yep. All right. So let's go on to segment number 3.
All right. Wow, man. You know, the good thing about democracy is the way that we have control over our government. Because Americans really want a war with Iran, right? Don't you feel in control of your government? Don't you feel like what you want actually affects what your government does right now? Steve Witkoff claims Iran is 1 week away from nuclear bomb material. The U.S. keeps recycling the same bullshit propaganda to justify another war, and the media keeps buying it. Well, the media is owned by the same people that they are owned by.
He gave Jared and I direction before we went over there. There were red lines. Zero enrichment. We have to have the material back. You know, they say that it's all about their civil program, and yet they've been enriching well beyond the number that you need for civil nuclear. It's up to 60%. They're probably a week away from having industrial grade bomb making material, and that's really dangerous. So they can't have that. This is something that they have to stick with until they prove to us that they can behave.
I know that
Yeah, no. We've got a demented thief as a president and 80,000 nuclear warheads. No, we can really be trusted with our nuclear arsenal. That's nothing to be concerned about. Hang on. It's being glitchy. What's happening here? Hang on. I'm trying to. Okay, there we go. Going underground. Steve Witkoff claims that Iran is 1 week away from having industrial grade bomb making material for a nuclear weapon. Last year, the Trump administration said Iran's nuclear facilities have been completely obliterated, and suggestions otherwise are fake news.
Oh, boy.
The U.S. is a country of habitual lying, and the lies change constantly, even 180 degrees, to support their next campaign to destroy another nation. Truth doesn't matter. Integrity doesn't matter. Only military-industrial complex profits and disaster capitalism matters. These are the values of the country that is trying to civilize nations thousands of years older than it. Yes. The question of Iran and its government, it's none of our business. And that is something most Americans agree with.
Of course.
Is Iran a threat to the United States? And does anyone reasonably, Iran, they're going to get in a bunch of boats and they're going to storm the beaches of New Jersey. They're going to show up at the shore. What are we talking about here? What is the purpose of this? And we know what the purpose of this is. This is at the behest of Israel, your actual government over there. Trump puzzled by Iran's refusal to yield despite U.S. military buildup in the Middle East. Here, Witkoff goes on in this interview.
How about over with Iran?
The president asked me that this morning, and I don't want to use the word frustrated. It's almost because he understands he's got plenty of alternatives. But it's curious. He's curious as to why they haven't, I don't want to use the word capitulated, but why they haven't capitulated. Why under this sort of pressure with the amount of sea power, naval power that we have over there, why they haven't come to us and said, we profess that we don't want a weapon, so here's what we're prepared to do. And yet it's hard to to sort of get them to that place.
Well, there's that.
Okay. So why don't they just roll over? Why don't they just roll over for us? George Galloway. I doubt Witkoff knows anything about Iran, about Islam, Ramadan, Shiism. I doubt he knows anything about the foundational concept of martyrdom, about Imam Hussein. But I fear he may be about to find out. Dignity, Steve. It's about dignity. Now, I think it was Mearsheimer whose theory on why we did not attack Iran already was that Israel asked us to wait because they can't defend against Iran's missile arsenal, as they found last time. And that may indeed be what's causing the pause. It also kind of makes sense that they went on to do this kind of a massive military buildup that may be partly in order to assure Israel that, don't worry, we're going to bomb them back to the Stone Age. They're not going to be able to attack you, right? It makes sense that that's a big part of why they're sending so much material into the Middle East. I hate to tell you this, folks, for anybody who's holding out any hope, although this segment does end with a hopeful note, but I remember this with the Iraq War. As soon as Bush, he was talking the same shit that we're negotiating and they're if they do this and that, it was very clear there's absolutely no way they're sending that amount of material and then not attacking. There's no way. It was just very obvious that it was not going to end any other way. There was nothing at that point. Iraq could have done anything. They were not going to send all those ships and troops and planes back after moving them all into the region. I hate to say it's the same thing here. Like, once they've moved all this material in, they're not going to back down now. Like, they're gonna go to war with Iran. I would be shocked if anything else happens.
Just one more point while we're stuck. When you talk about America tripping over its own lies, right? They can't even get their lies straight. Witkoff. Well, now they're 1 week away. I mean, Trump said 7 months ago, it's completely obliterated. Talk about another instance of just tripping over your own bullshit. What do we say about the Iranian government? We say that there are these. It's basically a religious apocalyptic death cults, right? That can't be reasoned with. That's why you have to fight them and you have to depose them. But now he says, well, I don't understand why they haven't capitulated. I don't understand why we can't negotiate with them. Okay, so which is it? Are they rational actors? Right. Are they a radical Islamist cult of death who's out to destroy the West? Like, that doesn't even make sense. If your argument is that they're a threat to us because they're radical Islamists who are, beyond reasoning with, then why are you surprised that negotiations fell through? It's almost like you don't believe anything you're saying. You're just Israel's dog being dragged into war. And you have to come up with some kind of bullshit rationalization for it, and you're struggling to do it because you're not very bright.
Right. Well, speaking of, that's a perfect segue into our next clip. Ryan Rosbiani, just in, former IDF soldier and U.S. Rep Brian Mast, but he didn't put Mast in there. Wants Trump to attack Iran. He claims Iran is a threat to American people. None of Iran's missiles can reach America. Yeah.
To ban ballistic missile program, stop having the Ayatollah kill your people, stop threatening the United States of America. I don't think they'll take that off-ramp. I think we end up using the capabilities of our 2 carrier battle groups that are in the region when that timeline hits to say the threat to America comes to an end. It's destruction or diplomacy. It's one or the other, and I think they choose destruction.
So just to be clear, the president has given a deadline of the first week in March. You are expecting a strike from the United States on Iran.
I expect that Iran does not take the diplomatic off-ramp and that it comes to a strike for the president to protect the homeland of the United States of America, which absolutely this is against an imminent threat against the American people. I can give one example of Americans literally killed. The beginning of 2024, 3 American service members killed by the hand of Iran while they were in Jordan. That's one example. Continual attempts to fly drones to our merchant marine fleet, drones to our Navy vessels, you name it. They are constantly threatening America, and the president says no more. This comes to an end. He is always about protecting the homeland and about protecting our people, and this is no different.
Okay. All right. So you're saying Iran needs to be attacked. It's an imminent threat to the American people because Iran killed some Americans, you're claiming, in Jordan. Okay. All right. Well, if that's the standard, multiple American citizens have been killed by Israeli forces and settlers, primarily in the occupied West Bank and Gaza, with a surge in incidents since October 2023. Victims include activist Rachel Corrie, journalist Shireen Abu Akleh, and recent victims like Asanor Ezgi Agi.
Ezgi Agi. That was Shama's friend. That was the one in the West Bank.
Oh, yeah. Right. Jacob Flickinger and 19-year-old Nasrallah Abu Saim.
That just happened.
Recent incidents and context. As of February 2026, Nasrallah Abu Saim in February. A 19-year-old Palestinian American was shot and killed by Israeli settlers during an attack on the village of Mukmas in the occupied West Bank. Asanor Ezgi Agi, a 26-year-old Turkish-American activist, was shot in the head by an Israeli sniper during a protest against settlement expansion near Nablus. Jacob Flickinger, April 2024, a U.S.-Canadian citizen, killed in an Israeli strike on a World Central Kitchen convoy in Gaza. Omar Assad, 2022, a 78-year-old Palestinian American who died after being detained, gagged, and bound by Israeli soldiers at a checkpoint. Well, I guess we got to attack Israel.
Wow.
We got to attack Israel, right? Because they're killing American citizens. Incontrovertible, absolutely killing American citizens. And let's not forget this. Let's not forget this. The USS Liberty, 1967. Israelis, with full knowledge they were attacking an American ship, attacked for over 2 hours.
That was a mix-up, and they said they were very sorry about that.
Yeah. 34 Americans killed, 174 injured. Okay, so I guess we got, by mass standard, we got to attack Israel. But he's not gonna say that, right? Our friend Blakely here. Brian Mast is a traitor to the union. Yes, these people love to throw around terms like traitor and disloyalty. What is that but a traitor to the nation? What is that but a traitor to the nation? It's outrageous that someone who served in a foreign government, he served in the IDF, now wants Americans to go die for Israel. He should be expelled from Congress. Yes, he should. I mean, you remember that? That's the guy who wore an Israeli military uniform into Congress. That should get you investigated immediately. Immediately. Could you imagine if somebody showed up with the uniform of any other country who was a sitting member of Congress, showed up with their military uniform, just walked into Congress wearing that?
It's a special relationship.
That is a traitor to the United States of America. You want to talk about a traitor? That is a traitor. That is a traitor. Brian Mast is a traitor to the country. Donald Trump here sharing out his one of his handlers there, presumably Mark Levin. Here's what he had to say about Iran.
We got the greatest deal ever from Iran. They're going to give up their nukes. They're going to give up their ballistic missiles. They're going to become Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. No more terrorism. That's right.
I mean, really, someone should force that deal on us.
Yeah.
Who has Iran killed over the last 20 years around the world? How many governments has it overthrown? How many failed states has Iran caused around the world? We left Libya with slave markets by the time we were done. Yeah, they're the ones who need to be brought to the table.
They're going to reject their own Islamist ideology of the 7th century. that they've used to indoctrinate others, that they preach every single day. That's right. Khomeini's going to become Mahatma Gandhi, and the world is going to have peace forever. Yeah, we'll sign that deal. Sure, we'll sign it. Now, why would they sign such a deal? What if it's the greatest deal of all deals ever? Why would they sign it? You see, the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a matter of a deal, a negotiation, or diplomacy, or playing this thing out. Khomeini, the Islamist Nazis, have told us what they're going to do. And they believe this is directed by God. And they have slaughtered tens of thousands of their own people.
Have you taken a look at the U.S. ambassador to Israel lately? You want to talk about a government whose ideology is driven by some kind of belief in a nutty superstition? You need look no further than the United States. You need look no further than America. We have a guy who's for Jesus to come back and throw the Jews into the lake of fire, so he's willing to tolerate them right now as the ambassador to Israel.
In the last few weeks, over the years, in order to advance this agenda, do you think signing a deal is going to stop anything? Do you think they're going to honor the deal? The issue.
Well, I don't know. Have we ever honored a deal? Ask the Native Americans if America has ever honored a deal that it made, or ask Muammar Gaddafi. Speaking of, ask him how America honors its deals.
Ask the Iranians who signed a deal with
us.
The
Iranians who signed a deal.
They signed a deal. They made a deal.
Adam, just in. Trump just shared his boss, Mark Levin, telling the Goyim they must go to war with Iran. Trump went to the island and Mossad caught him with a camera. It's the only explanation. I don't know, man. Miriam's giving him a lot of money. He might not want to get slammed with her 15-inch dildo again. You know, that's what she does when he steps out of line. He probably got a real reaming after he didn't follow through with Iran the first time. Now, you might remember this. This was a very infamous incident from 2013, the poop cruise. It was a Carnival cruise where they had a fire in the engine room, and as a result, all the toilets backed up. There was sewage backing up. The passengers were eating cold onion sandwiches. They were given red plastic bags to shit in. It's gone on to be known as the poop cruise. Well, the USS Gerald Ford is shaping up to be Poop Cruise 2. Poop Cruise 2. I look forward to the Netflix documentary about this one. Suppressed news breaking. Planned U.S. strike on Iran faces a major problem. Toilet failures on USS Gerald R. Ford. NPR and Wall Street Journal report too few working toilets for 4,600 sailors, 45-minute lines, and vacuum system that can't be fixed without returning to dockyards. All right, here's a video.
Has a hitch. Most of the bomb targeting crew are busy queuing for toilets on the lead vessel, the USS Gerald R. Ford. This is not a joke. A set of emails was obtained by NPR, a US public broadcasting group, revealing that toilet wars have broken out on board the most expensive ship the US Navy ever built. And the Wall Street Journal followed up to confirm the tale today. TLDR summary: there are too few functioning toilets for 4,600 sailors, and the problem is worsening daily. Problem 1, design planners screwed up by including too few toilets for 4,000 plus sailors, leading to 45-minute queues on a daily basis.
Jesus Christ.
Problem 2, engineers screwed up by installing a fragile vacuum system in which a single valve breakdown on one toilet can stop all the toilets in an entire department functioning, making the queues even longer. Problem 3, some of the temporary repair operations, such as using an acid flush to clear out calcium buildups, can only be done while the ship is docked. No prospect of that. But with so many toilets out of order, too much pressure is put on the ones still working, so the problem will just spread. And the issues have already been mounting for more than a year. A March 18th, 2025 email from the engineering department sent out to all chiefs on the ship said there were 205 toilet breakdowns in 4 days, the NPR reported. Now, the ship is at the heart of U.S. overseas attack operations, working for months in waters near Venezuela to support the abduction of the country's president and the seizing of ships carrying oil to customers around the world. And the ship is now heading the planned regime change operation in Iran. Israel wants a pro-Netanyahu leader installed, as the US has done in many other countries. But how can they attack Iran while staff are queuing for the loo? One result of all this is a war of words between sailors and onboard sewage staff called hull technicians, or HTs. One sewage engineering chief complained that sailors put all sorts of problematic material down the toilets. Even T-shirts were found clogging the pipes. Our sewage system is being mistreated and destroyed by sailors on a daily basis. My HTs are currently working 19 hours a day right now, trying to keep up with the demand. The US taxpayer sent $13 billion on this ship. On the plus side, it would be delightful if the carrier's desperate lack of functioning toilets caused the attack on Iran to be cancelled or postponed.
All right. That
President,
is,
we have a traitor in the ranks. One of these men is not who they appear, like the hateful eight on board a naval vessel. One of them is going around deliberately clogging the toilets.
Nobody uses 8 tampons. Okay, nobody uses 8 tampons. Why are there 8 tampons being flushed down the toilet at once?
They blame the woman.
We've got a mole.
Yeah.
I told you, don't let women in the military. That is, I mean, it's a funny story, but it is also a hopeful story, because as you look at the United States seemingly able to get away with being this incredibly corrupt country run by really crackpot, incompetent freaks and crony capitalism, and you see it suffering no consequences. Look, the consequences are going to come. Like, yeah, this is a funny subject, but it says a lot about the underlying cracks in the system. This is very typical of regimes where you have no bid contracts, where you have people who get hooked up based on who they know, and there's no accountability for failure. How does this happen? How does this happen? How do you put that kind of money into building a ship and get engineers who are so fucking incompetent that they didn't even design the toilets correctly? You think that doesn't carry over to any of our weaponry? You think that doesn't carry over to any of our platforms? I think if you're seeing this in the toilets on this ship, it's the tip of the shitberg. If we actually go to war, I would anticipate you're going to see the results of this just almost unimaginable levels of corruption that have been going on. This was in the Iraq War. You had with Halliburton, you had soldiers getting electrocuted in their faulty latrines. Like this has been building up for a while. If we have a real war, I think the combination of the kinds of freaks, crackpots, and weirdos in charge, or just the absolute incompetence of the leadership, combined with the result of decades of corruption. This didn't start with Trump. Decades of pay-to-play lobbyist corruption in the military contracting sector. You're going to see things falling apart very quickly. And I think this is indicative of that.
Yeah, I got a job. I didn't keep the job for very long. But I got a job as a tour guide on the Intrepid, which is, I forget how many soldiers that held. That saw
like a city.
World War II. I mean, it was thousands. It was thousands. It was
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
somewhere in the 3,000 to 4,000 ballpark. Yeah, just like a city at sea. And that was before we were this arrogant empire. And I had to read up on the history of that ship. They never had no shit problems on that ship. Those pipes work.
Well, that was back when there was accountability.
Right, exactly.
Where
Because
if your company
Exactly, of
designed
course.
a ship and fucked up like that, that would be
Right.
the end of your company.
It'd be the end
Now
of the
these
company.
are these are people that Trump raped girls with on Epstein Island. They're not going to face any consequences. For this, so why not?
This is Epstein class technology here. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's it is a symptom of imperial arrogance and imperial decline. That when nobody will tell anybody no who is connected in the right way, well, then at that point anything goes, and you're in for a real shitstorm.
Yep.
Yeah. It's gonna be a real shit show. World War III, the shit show. That's how they're going to teach it in history.
They're going to be sailing into the Persian Gulf. You're going to see asses hanging over the rails.
The great shit war of 2026. Yeah, the shit wars. Yep, that's what you're looking at. All right, what we got over here? We got EO Shush. Mamdani is another lying politician. A year in, Trump has built multiple concentration camps across the country, with many more coming. But Mamdani has been in office 2 months and not one gulag. That's right. Got to get those numbers up. Maria D'Angelo is a snowflake no one wants to plow. Ha! Good one. What a line. Vianticus Prime. Get up, King. I would like the viewers to consider watching RB Ham's Beyond the Pale podcast this Saturday on Rumble. E. Michael Jones will be a special guest discussing the theological foundations of Zionism. Well, that'll work. It'll be a nice double feature because our movie club starts at 8. So there you go. Furrows Queen. For fuck's sake, everyone in New York getting plowed. No plowing around my area. Same as the like button getting smashed. No smashing for me. And I'm loving Brutal Keaton. Absolutely no filter today. Well, thank you, Furrows Queen. Vienticus says 2 things just in. Trump administration abandoning plans to build ICE facility in New Hampshire. Oh, great. And Trump is weighing possible action to require banks to collect citizenship info. It's funny. I had a whole segment prepped on the administration pulling back plans for ICE centers, because that's not alone. They've had to withdraw on a few of these locations, which is a great sign, obviously. Knock on wood. But that segment, I have it prepped. I thought it was a little old, but now maybe I'll do that on Thursday if there's news on that front. We'll do a roundup because I think that's super important news, obviously, and so it's good to know. Of course, the second piece of news, not so good. Thank you, Vienticus. I figured out the 2-party thing was nothing more than a show when I saw Dukakis expose Biden and saw people clapping like seals over stupid Reagan shit. Fucking swear it's the allegory of the cave. That's right. Vienticus says, I just recently discovered Gravity Kills put out 2 more albums since the 90s. Gotta listen to them yet, but their first 2 albums were fucking awesome. Well, thank you, Vienticus. I'll check that out. Professor Brown note, will Donald Trump start the Third World War? Ah, that's good. Squeaky bum time for Washington. Thank you. All right. Let's you got some super chats?
Sure do. A lot, actually. Heavy Snack. I know of a vacant island in the Virgin Islands where Israel can build their drones. I hear Ehud is pretty familiar with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear it's available now. Plaskett will make it happen.
Yeah.
John Olmstead. Someone tell Nick to watch this segment. LOL. I mean, Nick's been dropping some bangers there. Zandor Vorkov, unable to be located for follow-up questions about Iran, Hegseth was found locked in the washroom singing Free Bird at the top of his lungs. Free Bird. Emoji, Jimmy's Rumble stream muted me and another person yesterday for posting about Butch Ware's California campaign. Disappointed in both Jimmy's team and Rumble. Is that true?
Did Rumble?
Is that true? I mean, that could be Rumble. I'd be very surprised if they muted you for that. Yeah. And TerrorBank 5000, please have Nina Travali Rudsari on. Iranian soccer journalist, very knowledgeable about Iran and football. He'd be a great interview. Football has been a very, very good to me. That'll be all Keith. Dark Matter Zombies, aka Landrew.
Hey,
never
Landrew.
fuck with people who invented algebra. We are all Palestinian now. Free Palestine, and we will all be free. Much love to the nation of due dissidents.
Thank you.
My
Thank you
friend.
very much. Very kind. Yeah, we should call ourselves the nation of due dissidents. Welcome to the nation of due dissidents.
Dissident nation.
Dissident nation.
Demi Dixon, have you considered having Owen Schroyer, who used to be on InfoWars, on the show? He may be a good guest. We have considered it.
We have
When he
considered it.
left, we were considering
We're considering it, and I know Rex knows him, so maybe I can
probably could get
try
him.
and call in a favor, get in touch with him.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, because I think he would be a good guest, actually.
French Laundry. Keaton, I would love to see you review Gen Z music from Yates, Summers, and Blady on ShufflePod.
I don't even know who those are.
Yeah, so your reaction would be fresh and impartial. Heavy Snack. Is it possible to bully MAGA into sending Nick Shirley down to Mexico to investigate the cartels for fraud? How did they get those U.S. weapons, Nick? I am going to cover that.
That's probably the best content. That's the most marketable content you can make, music content, rather than like do good reviews. Just listen to garbage and laugh at it, and people like that more than whatever I have to say.
Probably.
Just put one of those thumbnails. Make a stupid face.
Well,
and that's all
actually,
they want.
if you want to talk about marketable content, millennial hears Gen Z music live react for first time, do that.
Oh yeah,
like reacting to it in real time.
Oh yeah.
No, you get these 22-year-olds will put up like a video where they're crying listening to Zeppelin's Kashmir.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And it'll get like 1 million views.
Right.
Cubist Cosmonaut. Have you heard about the USS Gerald Turd? The $13 billion carrier is facing persistent technical issues with its sanitation system. Sailor poo against war. I mean, honestly, we made a joke of it, but what they're saying about people putting stuff down the toilet, they might really be trying to sabotage the ship. Like what?
Who knows? You could have
they want to go to war with Iran.
Yeah.
Like it could really be intentional, but in some cases.
It's called the art of the deal. Art of the deal. You flood the ship with shit, you turn it around, and you tell the Israelis, look, we tried, we couldn't make it happen, so peace on earth. It's called art of the deal, folks.
All right, guys, hear me out. Have you ever heard of the poop cruise?
Yeah.
Because I got an idea. P. Walker, only fitting that Washington, D.C. itself had its recent Potomac shit geyser. Did they? Was there like a sewage incident?
Was there a sewage thing? Yeah, makes sense.
Me shoot skeet. As a former Marine, I know turd floats, so the Navy will be okay. Boy, that rivalry between branches. Lesbian dance theorist. Why does this feel like an Arrested Development storyline? The White House is the banana stand.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's go. RFK's next. You got 2 in a row because I had 2 in a row to start.
Okay. Well, we're going to start with a friend of show, Alex Jones here. Friend of show, Alex Jones. All right. So Alex Jones put this up on February 6th. Breaking video. Deadly health effects of glyphosate exposed by State Surgeon General of Florida and Governor DeSantis' wife. The MAHA movement is successfully identifying the poisons allowed to our food supply, moving to eradicate them, and informing the American people. RFK Jr. needs to draft Florida Surgeon General Joseph A. Ladapo, MD, to help fight in his MAHA crusade at the federal level. And just a couple weeks later, Trump has signed an executive order to increase production of glyphosate, a weed killer thought to cause cancer. And that very evening, overheard at the Jones compound, son of a bitch! God damn it, I need a win! I need a win! What are the fucking odds? God damn it, I'm still rubbing shit off my face over that 3 million file bullshit. I figure this is an easy win with the glyphosate. How the hell can RFK Jr. support glyphosate? What the fuck, God? What are you doing to me?
That's good.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming.
No, what are the odds?
What are the odds? Promoting the national defense by ensuring an adequate supply of elemental phosphorus and glyphosate-based herbicides. This is a whole executive order the White House put out.
I feel like the national defense is like their go-to for getting everyone killed, whether it's war with Iran. Yeah,
safetyism. Safetyism. Yeah, it's all safetyism. You're under threat if you don't do what we want. So you might know that RFK has been particularly outspoken over the course of his career about poisonous pesticides. In fact, as an attorney, he tweeted this out in 2018. Huge win in Monsanto trial. Guilty on all counts. They were being sued for glyphosate. $289.2 million landmark verdict against Monsanto. He went on, you might remember, he ran for president. And when he was running for president, this was one of his ads.
EPA than any other attorney. When I sued Monsanto, we came across discovery documents that showed that it was an email exchange between the executive officers of Monsanto Corporation with the head of the pesticide division of the EPA for over a decade, a very well-known man named Jess Rowland. He was really secretly working for Monsanto, and they were telling him in these emails, you have to kill this study, you have to falsify this science. We went into court with about 2,400, mainly home gardeners, who had gotten non-Hodgkin's lymphoma from using Roundup. And in the first case, we won $289 million from the jury. The second case, we won $89 million. In the first two cases, the judge would not allow us to show that letter, that email exchange to the jury. But in the third case, the judge allowed us to do it. And we asked the jury for $1 billion, and they came back with $2.2 billion. And that forced Monsanto finally to come to the table.
His campaign ad. He ran on this. Those
were the days.
Kennedy defends Trump glyphosate order. MAHA erupts as midterms approach. Now, listen, we don't like to brag. We don't like to, take victory laps. We don't like to say, I told you so around
No, we're
here.
self-hating.
We're self-hating.
We're self-hating
really,
Jews. That's the whole concept of the show, is that we hate ourselves.
That's the whole, we built the show on our self-loathing.
Right.
But I seem to remember we took one look at the Fauci book and said this guy is a degenerate lying scumbag. And we got a lot of shit for it back then. But I hope that some people who got really upset about that take will give us a lot of money now for having been right about that.
I hope you'll give us money. Not I hope you'll give us money. I hope you'll give us money. I hope you'll give us the money that we would have generated from your subscription to the channel over these past couple years since we did that episode.
We can calculate how much you owe us.
Yes.
From that time. If you had subscribed then to now, we'll send you a bill.
We're not that self-hating.
No, we'll take the money. Kennedy defends Trump glyphosate order. MAHA erupts as midterms approach. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., defended President Donald Trump's executive order spurring the domestic production of the weed killer glyphosate as his Make America Healthy Again movement reels from the president's embrace of the chemical they despise. Trump on Wednesday night signed an executive order invoking the Defense Production Act to compel the domestic production of elemental phosphorus and glyphosate-based herbicides. Glyphosate is the chemical in Bayer Monsanto's Roundup and is the most commonly used herbicide for a slew of U.S. crops. Trump, in the order, said shortages of both phosphorus and glyphosate would pose a risk to national security. Kennedy backed the president in a statement to CNBC Thursday morning. All right, you want to go with this?
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry. No, I got distracted because someone in the chat who I guess hated our take on that book but still stuck around, they just wrote, "You're still wrong about AIDS." Right. I thought that was funny.
Okay.
So I got a little distracted there. All right. Sorry about that. Good. But hey, thanks for sticking with us all these years.
Yeah.
We're still wrong about AIDS. Okay. All right. Donald Trump.
HIV does not cause it. It does
Yeah.
not cause it. It's eating too much snack food is what causes it. Yeah.
Donald Trump's executive order puts America first where it matters most. Our defense readiness and our food supply, he said. We must safeguard America's national security first because all of our priorities depend on it. When hostile actors control critical inputs, they weaken our security. By expanding domestic production, we close that gap and protect American families.
All right. Well, don't you feel protected? You feel protected now? Right. Not protected from cancer, just, nebulous threats.
Yeah, it's a
but
threat.
Kennedy's MAHA coalition that supported Trump, we have to produce a lot more carcinogenic food to keep everybody fed. But Kennedy's MAHA coalition that supported Trump in the 2024 presidential election hates glyphosate and cancer, coincidentally. Maybe not coincidentally, which has been alleged to cause cancer in myriad lawsuits. Now the executive order threatens to unravel that coalition ahead of the 2026 midterm elections that could loosen the president's grip on Washington. This is a prominent MAHA activist, Kelly Ryerson. Just as the large MAHA base begins to consider what to do at midterms, the president issues an executive order to expand domestic glyphosate production. The very same carcinogenic pesticide that MAHA cares about most. Most. Ken Cook, ever feel you've been ripped off? Ever feel you've been cheated? Ken Cook, president of the Environmental Working Group, a watchdog that has pushed back against chemicals in food for years, said in a statement that he, quote, can't envision a bigger middle finger to every MAHA mom than this. Elevating glyphosate to a national security priority is the exact opposite of what MAHA voters were promised, Cook said. If Secretary Kennedy remains at HHS after this, it will be impossible to argue that his past warnings about glyphosate were anything more than campaign rhetoric designed to win trust and votes. Yep. The executive order came down one day after Bayer proposed paying $7.25 billion to settle a series of lawsuits claiming Roundup causes cancer. You understand? Like, they had conceded. They were about to pay out, and that's probably why. They called the White House and they said, hey, we're going to have to pay $7 billion. And boom. What do you think? That's a coincidence? One day after the White House announces this? Why that timing? Former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene knocked Trump for signing, quote, an executive order protecting cancer-causing glyphosate in our foods. Now, remember, before I read this next sentence, this is CNBC, basically a gambling tip sheet for degenerate stock market gamblers. Glyphosate is a critical chemical to American agriculture. It's applied to many key cash crops such as corn and soybeans and has been defended by agricultural trade organizations. Phosphorus is a key input to the creation of glyphosate, which the White House argues is necessary to maintain food security. Elemental phosphorus is also used in the manufacture of some military materials. House Agriculture Chair Representative G.T. Thompson, Pennsylvania, Republican, is trying to push a farm bill through Congress this year, a legislative package that covers federal farm support and nutrition subsidies. He's also come under fire from MAHA recently for a provision in that bill that would block state and local pesticide regulations from differing from federal guidance. So, for example, California has strict regulations on its use. New York does too. You won't be able to have that. They're going to force it on you. So this is the House Committee on Agriculture. Food security is national security. Thank you, President Trump, for acknowledging the importance of glyphosate-based herbicides in American agriculture. This is a vital step forward in ensuring a domestic supply of this critical crop input remains available for our producers. Zach Lon, there is no pending ban or shortage of glyphosate. There is only pending lawsuits for a foreign company that is causing harm to Americans. And now they have immunity. This must be reversed. Yes, that's the effect of this executive order. It shields them from liability. How do you sue when the federal government says you have to make it because it's a national security issue if you don't, right? How are you going to win a lawsuit? That's going to be their defense. Well, the federal government says we have to make it. Thomas Massey kind of won the internet with this one. Pesticides and pedophiles. Why do both get immunity? It's a good question. I think Aristotle first said that. But he goes on, this week I will introduce the No Immunity for Glyphosate Act to undo the recent executive order which promotes glyphosate Roundup and insulates manufacturers from liability. And Anna Paulina Luna quote tweeted it. I co-sponsored. Now here's Bobby. Here's Bobby, because he got such uproar. He got such uproar from the MAHA base. He felt like he had to come out and clean that up by explaining, what's a little cancer between friends, right? I mean, you're a patriot, right? Well, you're going to have to take a little Hodgkin's lymphoma for the team, guys.
Yep. TLDR, free Palestine.
I will always tell the American people the truth. Pesticides and herbicides are toxic by design, engineered to kill living organisms. Oh, well, do go on. When we apply them across millions of acres and allow them into our food system, we put Americans at risk. Chemical manufacturers have paid tens of billions of dollars to settle cancer claims linked to their products. So this is an argument for glyphosate. And many agricultural communities report elevated cancer rates and chronic disease. Unfortunately, our agricultural system depends heavily on these chemicals. The U.S. represents 4% of the world's population, yet we use roughly 25% of its pesticides. Now, it seems to me that before you became Trump's bitch, you would have used that as an argument for the fact that we're out of control with pesticides, right? Like, isn't that an argument that we're out of control with the pesticides? You're making the argument we can't stop using it because we use too much of it? Is that what you're saying now? If these inputs disappeared overnight, crop yields would fall, food prices would surge, and America would experience a massive loss of farms, even beyond what we are witnessing today. The consequences would be disastrous. I support President Trump's executive order to bring agricultural chemical production back to the United States and end our near total reliance on adversarial nations. His EO protects two pillars of national strength, our defense readiness and our food supply. When hostile actors control critical inputs, they directly threaten the security of the American people. The Trump administration will secure these supply chains to eliminate that vulnerability. Okay, so understand what he's saying. Yes, these chemicals do cause cancer, but we use too much cancer-causing pesticides on our food to stop using cancer-causing pesticides. And besides that, you don't want us to stop giving you cancer because vague, undefined, unnamed enemies will something if we don't keep giving you cancer. So you're going to have to take cancer for the team. I mean, that is really the essence of what he's saying. But hey, okay. So he says it can't be done. And by coincidence, a country that has completely banned it is a country I happen to be in right now, Vietnam. Many countries have partially banned or proposed bans on herbicides containing glyphosate. For example, Vietnam has fully banned the substance. The Netherlands, Belgium, and France have banned its household use. Germany forbids the use of glyphosate in public spaces. The country instituted a total glyphosate ban from January 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2024, but it has expired. Colombia and El Salvador also had total bans that were later overturned. In April 2024, Mexico was to become the largest jurisdiction to outlaw glyphosate use completely, but the government paused the ban before it went into effect. Other countries that have restricted or banned glyphosate include Austria, Bermuda, Canada, Colombia, India, Luxembourg, Portugal, and Sri Lanka. Okay, so I can tell you, because I'm here right now, food is not scarce in Vietnam. All of the Asian countries I've been to so far, food is a huge part of their culture. It really is. I mean, everything seems to center around food, a lot of religious events, family bonding, just food, just constant food. So I think we could safely say they're not having a problem with food production in Vietnam, which has gotten rid of glyphosate. Now, anticipating some chud responses, I did a little research. So I know a lot of people will say, well, what's the size of their population? Okay, well, size of the Vietnamese population is approximately 102 million. So that's about 30% of the United States population. All right, so you've got about 30% of the population. So you're going to argue, well, they don't have to produce as much food so they can get rid of the glyphosate. Well, then I looked at the relative acreage, the square footage of the countries. Vietnam's land area is 3.4 to 3.5% of the United States total land area. You could fit Vietnam into the U.S. roughly 30 times, okay? So they have to produce far more food per capita off of their acreage than the United States does. And the United States very famously has some of the greatest farmland in the world, right? The whole Midwest. We have this incredible breadbasket in the United States. So RFK Jr. would have you believe that Vietnam, a country far poorer than the United States by any meaningful measure, is able to feed its population and well feed its population, I can tell you from being here, without glyphosate. But the United States, the greatest country on earth, right? The greatest country on earth. It's certainly the richest. I don't know about the greatest. It's got the most money concentrated in its hands. The United States can't do it. Vietnam can. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. RFK Jr., I think more than anyone else in Trump's cabinet, had a lot of people's trust and faith. Even a lot of people, because a lot of these MAHA movement people are not really MAGA per se, but they had a lot of faith.
That was the whole point,
in him. Right. They had a lot of faith in him to do these things. As I said, I joked around a little bit about it, but like I said, man, we read his book. We saw very quickly this guy's a lying scumbag that can't be trusted just by the way he framed a lot of things in that. That doesn't mean there's nothing in that book that's true. That's what's so damning about it to me, because he was making certain points that nobody else was making. And then the next page, he's discrediting them by saying things that are completely batshit that enemies of those ideas can easily use against him. He was a terrible messenger for that cause. And that was really what we argued. And now here we are. Here we are. This is a guy who you can find he loved talking about this lawsuit. He talked about it on Theo Von. He talked about it on Joe Rogan. You can find videos all over the place of him talking about how he won this lawsuit. And then to literally write a tweet where you're saying, yeah, it causes cancer, but, we just kind of got to suck it up. You got to suck up the cancer. And, eventually we're going to try to wean ourselves off the cancer causing chemicals. Wow, man. I mean, it's just one more example in a series of betrayals from this administration. but maybe the most glaring. I mean, the most glaring since Sweaty Dan and Crazy Ass Cash sat down and told you Epstein killed himself.
Well, this is what I don't understand about RFK is, I think he's both a very disturbed person, obviously, just look at the poetry, and also a degenerate liar. I mean, whatever you think of politicians like Bernie Sanders and Warren, they're clearly not bought off by pharmaceutical companies. So that whole conflation that he did in his testimony of showing the donations from the pharmaceutical industry, I proved that for everyone's eyes, that those were from workers within the industry. So the janitor who cleans the pharmacy technically works at the pharmaceutical industry. Right. And if they donated to Bernie Sanders, he's counting that. So he's just an extraordinarily disturbed and manipulative person. I think he's a very low quality person. But I do think he does have some sincere convictions. And I think this is one of them, as he touted in his campaign ad. He won this lawsuit. I also think, for all of his flaws, he was in the 2024 campaign probably the most committed civil libertarian among the three candidates when he was a candidate, certainly more of a free speech advocate than Joe Biden or Donald Trump. And I'm sure that this ICE shit gnaws at him. I'm sure the, deportation of students for wrong speak on Israel, even though he's a committed Zionist, I'm sure he understands how wrong the infringements on civil liberties by this administration are. I'm sure he has I'm sure he has his head wrapped around that. And I would imagine that kind of bothers him. And I imagine that the bargain that he made in his head, well, Donald Trump's the only guy who would entrust me with this much power, and so I'm going to get to reshape public health in America. So yeah, even though I'm working for a tyrant, at least he's giving me more room to operate than anybody else would. Okay, but now you have to eat this shit. Now he's making you eat this shit. At this point, why not just quit? Like, if you're going to have to do this and work for this guy who clearly is doing things you don't believe in on a number of levels, not on all levels. I mean, look, RFK is in Israel's pocket just as Donald Trump is. Who knows? Maybe for the same reason. Regarding a certain financier. Maybe. But there are a lot of
I mean, in his case, he's
between them.
He's a degenerate pervert. Aside from that, I don't think you need an Epstein.
Maybe not. But the point is, there are significant philosophical differences between RFK and Trump, to the point where I do imagine it kind of sticks in his craw that he has to keep his mouth shut and bite his tongue about all of these civil liberties infractions. I mean, RFK talked about free speech in a more articulate way than any of the other candidates when he was running, and now look what we have. So at this point, if they're going to make you fucking do PR for this bullshit, why not just quit at this point? Like, I could see you making the bargain if you thought you actually had room to influence public, but look at what they're making you do. Look what they're making you embarrass yourself for them
now. Look, it's not easy with the Kennedys to burn your bridges. I mean, JFK Jr. goes up and kills his wife, and they still lionize that fucking piece of shit. Drunken pervert Ted Kennedy.
Oh, you mean in the plane? I thought you mean like he murdered his wife.
He went up.
Yeah, no, I know the story.
That experienced pilots told him not to go up in.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no patience for what he would have been. He showed you what he would have been when he the way he died and took out his wife with him.
Well, then there's a scenario. They would say
another thing. I mean, with fucking Teddy Kennedy left her. There's no reason she had to die. Even he was so much of a fucking coward. They took hours while she slowly fucking drowned in that car because the water gradually rose. She could have lived easily. Easily. So this is the family you're talking about. Like, I have absolutely no patience for the Camelot nostalgia. This has always been a family of fucking degenerate scum, and he's just one more example of it. So it's not easy to burn your bridges with that fucking family, but I think he probably managed it. And that might be part of why he doesn't quit. He has nowhere else to go now.
He certainly he did. Yeah, remember they all did that video condemning him. I think that's back when he was running as an independent even. They all did the video. By the way, they all have the same deformities. They're clearly inbred. It's clearly an inbred family. They all have these same fucking weird quirks with the lips and the teeth, and it's not good. Believe me, not good.
They had the overbite.
yeah. Yeah. All right. Ardeen W. Iran doesn't scare me. Russia doesn't scare me. Hamas doesn't scare me. The collective West is terrifying to me. Thank you, Ardeen W. Bronx Comrade Russ, you are giving excellent insight into life in Vietnam. Cindy Oy, that's her name, Cindy Oy. Wow. Was a very good YouTube channel. Looks like too good. She has been scrubbed. Anyway, can you find her? Well, she lives in Vietnam. A long lost YouTuber. In the 80s, I was a week.
I'll hire a detective.
In the 80s, I was a week away from having a threesome with Cindy Crawford and Bo Derek. Ha, good one. Mark Pugliese, on behalf of Beanied Friends of Show, Ben Shapiro, I question your motivation for bringing up the Liberty. That's right. I question your motivation for that. Bienticus says, man, the gangers on the Gerald Ford are either really frustrated or really happy. I wonder which. Thank you, Bienticus. Mark Pugliese, some divine irony that the U.S. is impeded by fullness of shit. Yes. If you knew about the actual process of how military weaponry contracts happen, you know this shitty situation is just par for the course. Yelling Tarzan, there's never been more incontrovertible proof we are a cacistocracy. Thank you. Peter 1VE, the shit ship, also a consequence of Clinton allowing the consolidation of the MIC to half a dozen companies. Oh, yeah, it's a continuum. RFK Jr. sending an emergency supply of prune juice and Activia yogurt, teaching Americans the importance of being regular, drop bombs, not deuces. Good one. Rest in peace, Robert Carradine. Nerds forever. Oh, he died? Didn't know that. Etymology fact: the word algebra comes from a book called Al-Jabr, meaning the restoring of forcing, written about 820 by Al-Khwarizmi. Thank you, Vienticus. Appreciate that. $1 Million Trooper. On a winter exercise when I was in Korea, a soldier was disgruntled enough that he took a dump on one of the tubes that blew heat in the command tent. It was crispy by the time they found it. It's a pleasant story. Fun history fact: upon correct recollection in the age of discovery, if you have to go, you would typically hang your ass off the aft of the ship, a deck known as the poopus, now called the poop deck. Yeah, it's funny. I would imagine. Yeah.
Oh, that's where that came from?
Interesting.
That's funny.
RFK and Alex Jones seen enjoying the bayou cuisine of gay frog felching. Thank you, Eric Russo.
We didn't get to this.
I am Landrew.
Landrew is dead.
I am Landrew.
We didn't do the thing.
Yeah, we're gonna get our housekeeping done here. 2095 in the YouTube chat. And we're at 939 in the like column. All right, folks, please do smash that like button. Let's get up over 1,000 likes. We need to come up with a sound drop for 1,000 likes for sure. All right, you got some super chats over there?
Sure do. Sphincter Knucklebuster. Brian Mass argument hasn't any legs. Sparky. Much like the U.S. in general, the U.S. military is only a shadow of a shell of its former self, trying to prop itself up with a past reputation. Well, and you know what? A lot of people have pointed out the United States was never really all that, right? I mean, the Russians won World War II. We didn't win World War II. I'm in the country. We got our fucking ass kicked by a peasant army, right? So it was always kind of overrated. And Angel JF 31. Sincerely, the left needs to stop using the fucking word free. Replace it with public, common, national. Corporate types in the right inaccurately use free. Stop using their framing words. It's a you pay or we pay decision. Yeah, man. I mean, do we really? I mean, yeah, I guess. That's a good point. Sparky, if I remember correctly, what we call Arabic numbers were actually Iranian Persian numbers, which the Arabs adopted when they took over Iran for a little over a century in the olden days. I think you've got your history right. Race car, the glyphosate, man. It's so nasty, most people can't spell it properly. Yeah, we had
it's a
somebody
tough word.
having an autist meltdown about the pronunciation. I don't know how you don't say it glyphosate. How do you say it?
I think it's
Glyphosate?
glyphosate. Is it phosate instead of
Glyphosate?
sulfate? Yeah.
Oh, I see. But it's not spelled that way though.
Is it? I don't know. I don't keep track.
Kuznetsky
I'm like Gavin
saying,
Newsom. I have the dyslexia. I don't know. I can't read
yeah,
it.
I don't. Yeah, me too. I have selective dyslexia.
Yeah.
Kuznetsky was saying F-22 and F-35 fighters are expensive Kluges, too high wing loading, no mission design, software and mechanical failures, so pilots get mostly simulator training. That does not surprise me. Bitch basket. Why dismiss aid dissenters like Carrie Mullis after living through bat flu? This is well known and disputed for a decade. Shaking my head.
Oh, so because they said masks worked and then didn't work because there was mixed messaging on masks, that means AIDS isn't real? Is that what you're saying? Is that the logic you're trying to deploy there?
I mean, it was really funny to me reading that book because I remember hearing this shit in the 90s. Like there were people with that conspiracy theory that it was from, party drugs and stuff.
No, they lied about they made up
malnutrition.
Some bureaucrats made up a rule about social distancing that wasn't scientifically based. So therefore, AIDS is caused by a gay lifestyle.
Party drugs, yeah.
Party drugs.
Gay lifestyle.
Party drugs.
Yeah, no, it was amazing to me that he was recycling that shit from the 90s. Like, I'm sorry, come on, man. And what was scummiest about it was he wouldn't even own it because he starts off that chapter saying, I'm not saying that HIV doesn't cause AIDS. And now let me spend 30 pages telling you why it doesn't.
Right.
Sparky. Isn't Roundup an herbicide rather than a pesticide? A pesticide is like an insecticide, which also gets caterpillars and non-insect bugs. They both can be dangerous, but I think they're different. I will concede right here. I am not an expert in this area. Heavy snack. McDonald's would have been impacted by the banning of glyphosate, and Donnie T refuses to allow the American corporation for being hurt because MAHA. Yeah, but Bayer is what, a German corporation, right? Isn't Bayer German?
Bayer is it? I don't know where it's based out of. It might be. Is it Germany or is it somewhere? I mean, I think it is German. I think Bayer is German. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's German.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And by the way, I think maybe the government did create AIDS. Like, I'm not saying, I'm not like saying there's nothing there, but I don't think you can say that, because they lied about this, that means everything you thought you knew is wrong. I mean, there's no logic there, in my opinion. Okay. I mean, of course, I think the government created everything that's bad. You look who you're talking to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think anything happens by accident. All right, that's why I'm a social anarchist. And if you don't know what that is, look it up and leave me alone. That's my new political philosophy.
Oh, you know what? Our friend there is right. It does say glyphosate. So
Yeah.
I guess I am dyslexic.
Yeah. Well, it's easy.
I never thought of myself as dyslexic, but I guess I am.
Yeah.
So my friend, that's very ableist. It's very ableist. Are you attacking my disability?
You're bullying him.
If a guy with Tourette's can go on stage and scream the N-word at an award ceremony, I could say glyphosate.
Yeah, you can say glyphosate. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move right on along here. Okay, folks. So hey, here's a throwback to simpler times when presidents made gaffes like this. So here is would-be president, maybe future president. We'll see. Gavin Newsom to a black crowd in Georgia. I am like you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. I can't read. Now, there's some dispute over whether it was to a black crowd, which we'll get into later, but it was definitely to a black mayor here.
No, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy.
Oh my God.
and I'm not trying to offend anyone.
Look at the guy's face. Look at the guy's face when he says that.
You're black, right? So what,
Yeah.
like 720?
Yeah, like whether it's the crowd or not, he's almost addressing it to him. And look at his face. when he
Better
says
than
it.
you.
Smile.
I'm a 960 SAT guy. And and I'm not
He
trying
knew.
to offend anyone.
He knew this was
Trying to
going viral
act all
right
there
then.
if you got 940. But literally a
All right, let's
960
diffuse the
SAT
situation.
guy.
Let's laugh.
I cannot. You've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in.
Ooh, ouch. Ouch. Well, hey, it worked for the last guy. The last guy talked like that. He became president, right?
Sure.
Sean Hannity
And let's
says,
talk about record players.
yeah, right, exactly. Gavin Newsom thinks a 960 SAT makes him like black Americans. Let that sink in. To which Newsom profanely clapped back here. We're still toward the beginning of the clip. So I'll say, you don't give an S about the president of the United States of America posting an ape video of President Obama or calling African nations S-holes, but you're going to call me racist for talking about my lifelong struggle with dyslexia. Spare me your fake effing outrage, Sean. Okay, so speaking of dyslexia, okay, we kind of got to go in kind of disjointed order here because there's lots of points at once here.
I mean, he calls out Trump even as he follows the path Trump blazed. No politician dropped the F-bomb until Trump.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like he definitely opened up the space to just
routinely do it.
Yeah,
exactly. So here is a video that surfaced. Laura Powell. The audiobook is 11 hours long, but Gavin Newsom was able to read this 263-page book in less than 2 hours. This is an especially impressive feat, given he claims to have severe dyslexia, or maybe he's just a pathological liar. So here he is interviewing the authors. I forget their names. They wrote the Shattered book, and I think they wrote whatever the next campaign book was. But here he is bragging about how quickly he was able to read their book. Now, we're going to go audio only because the reason we are not supporting Gavin Newsom for president is because he copyright claimed us on a video on his podcast, which should not be allowed. The governor should not be allowed to copyright protect their podcast while they're in office. So that's our beef. That's why we're never Newsom. But here's the audio of him claiming to have read a book pretty fast. Yeah, exactly.
Hell of a book, and I don't say that lightly. I went through it in a quick hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And trust me, I don't read very fast, but it reads at an unbelievable pace. It's so well written. And of course, it's so familiar because I felt a little bit adjacent to so much of the subject matter, but it's 18 chapters. It's an impressive piece of work, 263 or so pages.
Okay. So, all right. I guess he has selective dyslexia there, right? So here's Wall Street Maeve. Newsom to a black audience. I'm too dumb to read like you. Newsom to a white audience. I read a 300-page book in 2 hours. Racist, liar, both. Okay. Now, we just have to establish a kind of ground rule here because I said, when Trump takes office again, it's going to be a new day. And especially given the behavior of the Trump administration and a lot of their sycophantic social media influencers like Wall Street Maeve, you guys had a year to show us who you were, and you did. And so this whole equivocating about how, well, they call Trump a racist, but look at them. No, I'm sorry. That's not going to fly anymore. Here's some samplings of, if you just look up Wall Street Maeve's Somali IQ. He tells Hakeem Jeffries, you have the IQ of a Somali. Replying to N wokeness, average Somali IQ 68 on display in all of its glory. Importing a bunch of third world regards with an average IQ of 75 makes the problems worse, not better. Somalis have an average IQ of 68. So this whole thing where you try and play this game now, where you try and say, well, no, you can't call us racist because look at what you guys say. No. Fuck Gavin Newsom for a lot of reasons, but fuck all of you too. We're done with this. We're not doing this anymore. You guys can just pour yourself a nice tall glass of shut the fuck up, bitch juice. And that is not to be confused. That is not to be confused with shut the fuck up juice, bitch. It's shut the fuck up, bitch juice. That's the name of the juice. Okay. Important difference. Same thing here. American AF. Holy shit. A video is resurfaced of Gavin Newsom telling white people that he read a 260-page book in an hour and a half. Now he's telling black people that he's like them and can't read. Again, with the Somali shit. And this is just the most recent glaring example where they just literally went with like IQ race science garbage, right? But I mean, we've all seen with the ICE stuff and the Palestine stuff and all of that stuff. I mean, this is just the most glaring and recent obvious example for time purposes here. People watch The View have the IQ of Somalis, low IQ Somali lovers. A serious country would have already rounded up all the Somalis and deported them by now. America is really getting looted by Somali pirates who have an average IQ of 68. So there's American AF. Look at Benny Johnson's thumbnail for this. I mean, look at that. That's an actual like YouTube thumbnail. That's where you're going. That's where you're going with that. So no, like, I'm sorry. The days where you're gonna actually give credence to these people who say, well, you know, they like to call us racist, but look at them. No. Even as you make that argument, Benny Johnson cannot resist. And that's not the only thing in that photo he can't resist. Nicki Minaj here, she piles on. His way of bonding with black people is
He's a handsome man.
Yeah. His way of bonding with black people is to tell them how stupid he is and that he can't read. This means my first read on him was correct. He's been handed so many things and put in high positions he never earned or deserved. Do you want to know the craziest part of this footage that will haunt him forever? He's literally slowing his speech down and talking in a sporadic cadence. He's not just telling them that they're all probably stupid and probably can't read. He's literally slowing down his speech to make them understand the words that are coming out of his mouth as if they're children. That means he really believes they're slow. He's just not saying it. He didn't misspeak. He believes it. Do you love it? Do you just love it? Black people. And then, yeah, Nicki Minaj, she's part of the club now. Don Jr., 100. Cat Turd, LOL. Nicki just destroyed Gavin Newsom. So now you have a guy here, Brad Palumbo, I guess a conservative writer, says, I strongly dislike Gavin Newsom, but I try to be fair, and the MAGA racism allegation against him seems to be a hoax. The original claim was that Newsom told a black audience he was just like them because he had a low SAT score and struggles with reading due to dyslexia. Turns out the audience was mostly white, and he has made similar self-deprecating comments to other audiences, citing his low SAT score and reading struggles. Verdict, it's somewhat cringeworthy pandering, but it's not racism, and Republicans who are stretching themselves to insist otherwise are engaging in the exact kind of context-stripping, pearl-clutching, bad faith bigotry accusation they rightly decried on the left for years. I mean, it is awkward because he says it to a black interviewer.
To a black man, right.
And either way, like, it's still cringeworthy pandering. First of all, rule number one, even as a podcaster, this is rule number one. As a politician, it's especially rule number one. You don't go negative on the crowd, right? You don't put the crowd on their back heels by saying, hey, I'm stupid like you. You know, you don't say that to an audience. Never, no matter who they are, what color they are, whatever. You just can't go there. And so, yeah, obviously douchey, cringy, pandering. And yeah, of course, I mean, it comes off a little racist. I mean, he says it to a black guy who you could see when he said it. The guy's like, what? What the hell did you just say?
Okay. Honestly, I mean, really, like explaining that context that he said it before. All right. So I mean, and my partner here will remember this well. Okay. So, you know, I for a little while, and you notice I never say it anymore because once you get used to saying something, if it can be misconstrued in the wrong context, you should just stop saying it because you're going to say it in the wrong context eventually. So I was saying, you know, admiringly, you know, that the communists put these people in the fields. And then we were doing a segment about Elie Mystal.
Yeah, a black intellectual, a black liberal intellectual.
Yeah, and I said we got to put them all in the field.
Yeah,
and I didn't even think about it because I got used to just saying that, and I didn't connect that. So yeah, I buy that. And like if that's part, especially if that's part of his shtick, then yeah, he just didn't think about not doing his "I'm a regular guy like you" shtick with a black interviewer.
Did you realize you had said that like right after, or did I remind you? Because I remind you after the show, I said, you realize you said we should put this black guy in the field.
Oh no, I caught that right away.
That was on the Jimmy Dore show. So I told his editor there, I said, listen, you got to cut that out of the clip. You misspoke. That'll go everywhere. Yeah. But yeah, it was like one of those phrases that you use every time. And when you just like happen to use it against the
And
black
you
guy,
don't
it's like, oh
think-
shit.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but this
It's
is why
like-
you just shouldn't, as a rule, insult the audience.
Well, I stopped using that phrase.
No, I
after
know
that
you
because I'm
stopped
like,
using
yeah,
it.
man. I mean, because that could come up in that context, and
Right.
it's not good.
It could be an accident. You don't want to risk that kind of accident, of course. But to your point, that's why, like, yeah, okay, I maybe believe that he didn't direct it at a black person consciously. That's why you, as a rule, don't put an interviewer or an audience on their back heels like that. Don't call the audience stupid. Don't say they have low SID. Just don't go there, because you never know when the context and the content are going to match up, and you're going to have an issue on your hands. Yes. So, but you know, look. I mean, fuck all of these people. Fuck Tim Pool. Newsom is like, hi, black people. Y'all are dumb, but me too. Fuck Adam Carolla. Fuck Autism Capital. Now, to be fair, Autism Capital has turned on Trump over the Epstein files. So I give them props for that. But here they are, basically just said, I am regarded just like you, to try and pander to a black crowd. This is actual racism. You know, that definitely comes off cringy and a bit racist because he says it to a black guy there. And again, fuck Gavin Newsom. I hope to God he's not the nominee. I can't stand the bastard. And yeah, this was an embarrassing gaffe for sure. But you know, this is actual racism that none of these people condemned at all. In fact, they amplified it. Here he is calling Somalis garbage.
And we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing.
Okay, so that's actual racism. This is actual racism. Omar Fateh, who lost the Minneapolis mayor's race, loses Minnesota mayoral race, goes back to his own job. This from the White House account. The racist White House has used AI to edit a normal photograph of Minneapolis church protester Nakima Levy Armstrong, making her face crying and ugly. So they actually used AI to edit the image of her arrest to make it look like she's crying there, just to zoom in. And by the way, here's Gavin Newsom blowing out J.D. Vance in these recent polls. And I suspect that as horrible as he is, he will continue to enjoy a polling advantage because of just how despicably this administration has conducted themselves. Donald Trump says, wow, Gavin Newsom just dropped out of the presidential race. Did not happen. I don't know where that came from. Maybe he was joking. Who knows? But that was tweeted out last night. And then, of course, Gavin here drops maybe an unintentional truth bomb here. You know, this was also probably a gaffe that worked out in his favor. Governor Newsom tonight, you would not know Kamala Harris without Willie Brown.
And for those that don't know Willie Brown, you wouldn't know Kamala Harris without Willie Brown. Kamala and I both got elected the same.
Yeah.
Well, Willie told me once she could suck the chrome off a trailer hitch.
Yeah, exactly. No lies detected. Even N Wokeness liked that one. Even N Wokeness said that's a fact. And so, yeah, look, of course, fuck Gavin Newsom. Fuck all these people, too. I'm sorry. Like, you don't get to do this anymore. You had your chance. It's not my fault. It's not our fault that you guys conducted yourself the way you have. You have conducted yourselves as shamefully as possible over the past years, expressing overt race hatred time after time after time at every single opportunity. The idea that you're going to get to play this game to try and make it look like, oh, well, you can't say this about us because look at your side. No. Those days are over. Yeah. We are never giving you the benefit of that kind of doubt ever again. So the fact of the matter is, this is not going to derail Newsom all by itself unless the Democratic voters decide that he should be disqualified for shit like this because it's clumsy and cringe. And yeah, it's just obviously just not ready for prime time there. He is a gaffe machine, much in the way Biden is. I mean, he's a clumsy bastard. He's APAC. He freezes up. It's interesting. You mentioned about APAC. It's interesting. With the whole nervous hand motions around the fire, lying to that woman, telling her he's on the phone with the president right now. She's like, can I talk to him? Well, no, not really. So yeah, fuck Gavin Newsom, of course, but fuck all of these people as well. Like, I'm sorry, you don't get to claim a W here. No, we just cannot afford you this victory. Simply cannot happen. Simply cannot happen. And you guys did that to yourselves, all by yourselves. You got no one to blame but yourselves. I am of the opinion that someone who's not on our radar right now is going to emerge as a formidable challenger. I don't see Newsom winning the primary. I just don't see it. It could happen. It could happen. After the fires, I was convinced it couldn't happen. But again, if your opponent is J.D. Vance, that raises your stock by a lot, to the point where you figure, all right, well, whoever can raise the most money can certainly beat this doofus. So now his stock has risen a bit. But the point is, whatever happens with Gavin Newsom is going to be in the hands of Democratic voters. And of course, by voters, we mean Democratic donors and super delegates. Is there a candidate who emerges who is acceptable to them and enough voters? I think people are sleeping on John Ossoff now because he has a Senate race to win. I think once he wins that Senate race, which I believe he will handily, I think his stock is going to go through the roof because he does have rhetorical talents, doesn't make these kinds of gaffes, and he's not from a solid blue state like California. He's from a very valuable swing state like Georgia. So I don't think Newsom has this locked up, but I don't think gaffes like this are going to cost him anything, because I think at this point, this whole line of argument, well, you can't call us racist because look at your side. No, you guys have proven over this past year you're pretty fucking racist, and you've been pretty proudly racist for this past year, to the point where you don't get to play these kinds of games anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the second Donald Trump won that election, the White Hoods came out right away, which was interesting. Like, they understood well enough that the public is not as deeply racist as they are to hide it,
right?
With
exactly.
an election coming up, so they understand that people find this repulsive. And as soon as Trump won, that was it, man. Mask off. Mask off. They have just been pounding white nationalism and amplifying white nationalist appeals like Elon's daily roundup ever since, man. So yeah, no, the idea that being called racist by the libs is unfair. Look, we fucking hate those motherfuckers. You know what we hate more? That they turned out to be right about you.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It made us look dumb because we actually backed you on that. We actually backed you guys. Like, yeah, man. I mean, everything's Russia and racist with these people. They don't want to have it on it. Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. You are a bunch of fucking crackers. Yeah, man. The libs are hypocrites who use identity issues because it's all they got. That's true. They're still right about you. Both those things can be true at the same time.
Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, yeah, does this reflect badly on Gavin Newsom? Of course it does. Of course it does. It was a cringe fucking gaffe. And it's one of many. Like, he's prone to this stuff, you know? And in anything approaching normal circumstances, I would say he's not a viable candidate, especially after the fires. Given that he's going to be running against, literally the T-1000 in J.D. Vance, he's a more viable candidate. But, as far as this whole tit for tat, as far as like N wokeness caught you with your pants down, saying something that he claims is racist against black people. And so it's an own. No, it's not an own. It's not an own. You guys are not to be taken seriously on these matters ever again under any circumstance. And that's your fault. You blew it all on your own. All right. Let's go to some more super chats or Rumble rants. I got to put the scroll up here. So why don't you take some Rumble super chats first?
All right. Sparky, wasn't really that long ago the U.S. produced an excess of food before Roundup, glyphosate, or products like them even exist. Yeah, it's bullshit. I mean, in all seriousness, if a country like Vietnam can do it, the United States with its resources can certainly do it. Angry Gen Xer, can we start a collection to send Taco Bell food to everyone?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Foxtastic, not Cindy Wee, Luna Wee, Vietnamese YouTuber, does pro-commie real history shit. Last video was a month ago. She's fine.
Oh, okay. He said oi, not we. He said OY. So that spells oi, as we know very well.
Yes.
But
well,
OI is different. Yeah.
Well, Private Silverstein left a little deposit during his time in the NAM there.
Yeah.
Sparky, Bear is German. They invented, produced, and marketed aspirin and cocaine.
I thought they were German. Yeah.
Sparky, although the U.S. military and their military-industrial complex weapons were never all that, they're still 20 or more times worse now than they were 40 years ago. I'm sure that's true. All right, I got to fix this mic. You want?
All right, yeah. Okay, I'll take care of this. All right, folks. Hey, if you like what we do here and you want to help us do more of it and access special perks like our live stream State of the Union reactions and commentaries tonight, go to dodissidents.com/Patreon/Substack or /locals. There may be a problem with locals. People are having a little bit of a problem with locals lately. So no offense to locals, but you may want to try the Patreon for now or the Substack. Membership starts at $5 per month. And you get bonus content. You get also call-in access to our weekly Q&As over on Rumble. You also get an ad-free replay, an ad-free live stream replay emailed to you after every show. The day after every show airs publicly, you get a replay of that free of ad interruptions emailed right to you. Bonus content includes our newly revamped Dissident Film Club, where we're partnering with Right Brain TV to screen dissident cinema from all around the world. Our maiden voyage with Right Brain TV is this Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. But tonight at 8:45, 15 minutes before showtime, I go live with our friend Tusker to cover the State of the Union. That is tonight at 8:45 p.m. for our beloved members. So if you want to join the Cool Kids Club for just $5 a month, now would be a great time to do so, because we got a big week for bonus content coming up this week. So that's once again patreon.com/do-dissidents. Join up and we'll see you later on this evening. All right, you got some more super chats over there?
Just a couple.
Oh, okay. Well, here, I'll save those. I'll do these.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. What do we got over here? 007 Angelo says Iran not need worry. The Gerald R. Fart can't launch jets without a deck covered in porta potties. Maybe they can use t-shirt guns to shoot flying turds on Iran, our version of hypersonic. There you go. Kit's Corner in 2014, when I was in college, Niagara region got over 8 feet of snow. Every hour I was shoveling, plus the neighbors. Exhausting and tiresome, but some local kids were happy. They made money. There you go. Vientica says, for me, I'm building a brand of being an annoying, insufferable asshole. So all I told you so all day long. Vientica, just shut up and eat your glyphosate. Thank you. Is felching glyphosate a new thing? Ha, good one. Felch not, lest ye be felched. Good one, Stoop Sign. Thank you very much for that. Let's see. Do I have any others over here? I think I do. Yep, I do. Do you have any other super chats, even if it's just like one more?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Andy Gardner, Luigi Mangione, you are once again being called upon to save us. Luigi didn't do nothing.
He didn't do nothing. He didn't do nothing.
Black Atcha Production. They will install Newsom. Did you forget the DNC fraud lawsuit? You really think voters matter in DNC primaries? I think they do in this sense. Like the establishment in 2008, the Democratic Party establishment, went into it for Hillary. And Obama convinced them he'd be an even more effective messenger for Wall Street and Citibank than she would. In that sense, yes. In the sense that you get a choice between scumbags they find acceptable. In that sense, he could lose.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't think in this primary there is going to be a candidate that is so offensive to the establishment that they will rig it against them, right, who could actually win. And this was always a thing. Like the Bernie people were always the people who had no chance of winning. So like Do they rig it? Did they rig it against Al Sharpton in 2004? No, Al Sharpton just had no chance to win in 2004. Right. So, like, I think John Ossoff, and it's not an endorsement of John Ossoff, but I'm just saying, I think if he comes off a convincing win in Georgia, he's a young guy. He can deliver a speech. If he wins Georgia by a lot, that's going to make him a very attractive choice for both voters and the party bosses. So, like, why would they rig it against John Ossoff? He's not like offensive to them, you know, in a way that like a Bernie or like a Dennis Kucinich was. Like, he's not a radical. So, like, why wouldn't they let him beat Gavin Newsom? Like, I don't think they would rig it against the John Ossoff because he's not really hostile.
It's not worth it.
Right. So at that point, they'll just let them fight and may the best man win. Right. Certainly, if there were somebody who posed a threat to them, they would rig it against them. But I don't even see that. I don't even know if they'd go to great lengths to stop AOC, really. I think she plays ball enough to the point where they'd probably just let her take it. Now, they might not. They might, if they rig it against her, it's because she actually can't win. She's the one candidate I think would probably even lose to JD Vance. So maybe that would be why they'd rig. But she's
I don't think she'll run.
No,
I'd be surprised.
I think she might run, but I don't think she'll get close.
Senate.
I don't think she'll get
close. They're going for the Senate.
All right. Let's do one more.
All right. As you might have heard, violence ebbs, but Mexico remains on edge after killing of cartel boss. So Claudia Sheinbaum came out and gave a speech. We'll take a look at a little bit of that.
En ninguna de las carreteras.
Hang on, let me take that down a little bit. We woke up with no blockades on any of the roads, and practically all activities have been restored. So, is the Secretary of Defense going to report later, Omar? Well, we're only going to take a few questions, 3 or 4 questions for today. It's important for you to know that today a command center and a national coordination effort are still in place, where the secretary, the 3 secretaries, their teams, and the ministry of the Interior are working together to coordinate with all state governments. Okay. So, according to reports and according to her, situation seems, at least at the moment, under control. Nobody's quite sure if another shoe's going to drop. The authorities in Mexico appear to have restored order in multiple cities on Monday after a wave of violence set off by the killing of a major cartel leader left highways blocked, buildings burned, and at least 62 people dead. Mexico's most powerful criminal organization, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, unleashed the chaos after its leader, Nemesio Azaguera Cervantes, or El Mencho, which actually I looked it up, that translates as the Mensch. They called him that because he always picks up a check. The nation's most wanted cartel. You say what you want about him, a cold-blooded murderer. He always pick up the check. This is why we call him El Mencho. El Mencho, the Mensch. The nation's most wanted cartel boss died in a military raid on Sunday in western Jalisco State.
We might have to title this podcast episode for Spotify, The Mensch.
The Mensch. On Monday afternoon, schools and businesses were closed in some of the areas hit hardest, and residents and tourists were staying indoors. Mexico's Defense Secretary, General Ricardo Trevilla Trejo, said on Monday that the authorities had located Mr. Azaguera by tracking one of his romantic partners. He said that the authorities had also gathered intelligence from some in Mr. Azaguera's close circle, and that the U.S. authorities had provided, quote, a lot of additional information that helped them identify his location. After Mr. Azaguera met with the romantic partner on Friday, the authorities immediately began planning the operation carried out on Sunday morning. That left President Claudia Sheinbaum under intense pressure from President Trump to combat the cartels, facing a momentous decision. Should she attempt to arrest or kill Mr. Azaguera and potentially open a new chapter of nationwide violence less than 4 months before Mexico is to co-host soccer's World Cup? Or should she leave Mr. Asaguera free in a bid to maintain the status quo? Ms. Scheinbaum chose to go after Mr. Asaguera. The Mexican security force operation that led to his death set off a wave of violence that was even wider than expected. Mr. Asaguera's followers wreaked havoc in at least a dozen Mexican states, attacking security forces, blocking highways, and setting fire to supermarkets, banks, and vehicles. Airlines and bus companies canceled routes, trapping travelers, including thousands of tourists, in beach destinations like Puerto Vallarta. They were told to shelter in place as they watched plumes of smoke rise from the burning city. So here's some footage of that.
Wow. That looked like a cloud. That's smoke. Wow.
Yeah. And here's some footage of the cartels. They seemed at this stage to be sending a message. They seem to have been going out of their way to avoid civilian casualties and to do property damage. Like they were making civilians get out of the car and then burning the car instead of killing the civilians in the car. Guys like, fuck this shit, I'm out of here. I want no part of that. And then this is pretty dramatic footage captured from inside Guadalajara International Airport with people running for their lives. According to this, the gunman opened fire in the airport. I can't verify that. Given the reaction, seems accurate.
Well, it seems like they probably heard something to cause that kind of stampede.
Yeah.
Corre, 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 corre.
That means run, run, run. So pretty crazy. Mexican officials said they had arrested 70 people and killed 34 suspected of being cartel members in the chaos on Sunday, while 25 members of the National Guard had been killed. The dead also included a state prosecutor, a security guard, and a civilian, officials said. Local news outlets reported the civilian was a pregnant woman who had been caught in a shootout. Killing Mr. Asaguera is a major victory for the Mexican authorities, who recently began a new offensive against drug cartels, but few believe it spells the end for the powerful group he led. Still, the raid that decapitated his cartel could help counteract pressure from Mr. Trump, who has threatened military strikes against Mexico if it did not do more to fight cartels. And Carolyn Levitt tweeted out about this operation. President Trump has been very clear the United States will ensure narco-terrorists sending deadly drugs to our homeland are forced to face the wrath of justice they have long deserved. The Trump, except when we pardon you. The Trump administration also commends and thanks the Mexican military for their cooperation and successful execution of this operation. So United States really putting pressure on Mexico to do something about these cartels, really against these cartels. According to the reporting, in addition to tracking the girlfriend, there was some inside help, probably going for that $15 million there. It's a lot of money, right? The kind of money that makes somebody decide, yeah, I could get plastic surgery and hide out the rest of my life with $15 million. But hey, this doesn't look like a cartel. This looks like an army. The army mobilizes from concerned citizen, except it's not the government army. It's the special forces of Jalisco New Generation Cartel. So let's take a look. El Mencho bought me a corned beef. He don't make me pay. El Mencho take me out for Taco Tuesday. Para el Mencho. All right, so look at that, man. Look at that. Okay, I mean, we know they have all the money in the world, right? But you still got to buy it from somebody. I mean, this is military grade equipment. So where do you get that? Well, here is Mexico's defense secretary explaining where all of this seems to be coming from.
Hablando de la estrategia general, se han asegurado en lo que va de la administración 23,000 armas. De esas 23.
Take that back.
Ya se ha mencionado aquí.
It has already been mentioned
hablando de la
here.
estrategia general,
Speaking of the strategy
se han
general, since the
asegurado
beginning of the
en lo que va de la administración
administration,
23,000
23,000
armas.
weapons have been seized.
De esas
Of those
23,000 armas, el
23,000 weapons,
80%
80% are of
son
U.S.
de
origin.
origen norteamericano.
So in
Entonces,
this
en este
case,
caso,
the
más o
proportion
menos
is
es la misma
roughly the
proporción.
same.
Correcto.
All right, so hang on. So the logic here from the United States, the logic is that if you don't stop these drugs coming over our border, we're going to bomb your country. So if the United States doesn't stop the weapons going to Mexico, do they get to bomb the United States? Do they get to come and invade the United States? Do they get to go attack Smith & Wesson? Stop these weapons from coming into their country? I mean, same logic, right? You say it's because of them you were getting drugs. Well, clearly, in some way, our weapons are getting there, right? Look at this. Cartel using American weapons in Mexico. In the video, CJNG members at a gas station on fire in Guadalajara, armed with American AR-15 rifles. So where are they getting all this equipment from? This is one possibility. How Israeli firearms fall into the hands of Mexican drug cartels. This is Haaretz. Israel sold Mexico over 24,000 guns and rifles from 2006 to 2018. A new report conducted as part of a global investigation reveals. With little oversight, Israel has inadvertently helped fuel violence in the country. How inadvertent it is, we don't know. From 2006 until 2018, some 238,000 firearms were exported to Mexico from Europe, including 24,000 guns and rifles from Israel, some of which wound up in the hands of drug cartels. 95% of the 238,000 guns that reached Mexico were categorized as being for military purposes. Over the past 2 decades, Israel has exported hundreds of millions of euros worth of military equipment to Mexico. De facto, though, Israeli weapons firms sell to all types of police in Mexico indiscriminately. Israel has no way to follow all that's done with its weapons. Israel has no laws for transparency in this regard or any limits on sales of weapons to countries that violate human rights. So, because Israel gets most of its weapon supplies from the United States, that could be one way that U.S. weapons are getting into the country. But, there's another possibility that we actually back these drug cartels in order to create chaos in these countries. Mexico, not the only one. Mexican drug cartel gangsters fighting the Mexican government have Ukrainian flags on their armored jeeps. Why do they have Ukrainian flags on their armored jeeps? What's that about? Are they libs? Are they libs? Are these drug cartel people libs? Do they have rainbow flags hanging outside the cartel compound there too? No, it turns out they train in Ukraine. Cartel members traveled to Ukraine. Mexican intelligence sources revealed that members of the Jalisco New Generation cartel traveled to Ukraine to receive training in military drone operation and urban guerrilla warfare. All right, let's take a look at the video here. There's a news report.
Interesante porque el cártel Jalisco Nueva Generación tiene nuevas técnicas para eficientar, vamos a decirlo así, su uso de drones. Le voy a contar la historia de la unidad de drones del CJNG. El reportaje es de Jorge Martínez.
The Jalisco New Generation cartel no longer only commits crimes with rifles and armored trucks. Now they deploy elite cells of 10 hitmen capable of operating simultaneously up to 2 drones loaded with explosives, a strategy that, according to experts, reveals guerrilla training. The operations of this unit, known as drone operators, and bearing the cartel's emblem, were exposed in a video circulated on social media. Men dressed in tactical camouflage clothing, high-powered long guns, and coordinated movements prepare to attack. Also notable are 2 uniformed women who cover themselves, advance, and participate in the operations while drones loaded with explosives fly overhead. They are libs. They are libs. They have women in combat. They're flying Ukrainian flags. The Mexico drug cartels are very woke. They're very woke, apparently. The video shows these are not improvised hitmen, but an irregular combat unit with discipline, strategy, and unconventional weapons. Notable is the use of a DJI Matrix 300 drone capable of flying for 55 minutes, carrying 3 kilos of explosives, operating at night with thermal vision and capturing images from 20 kilometers away. Also appearing is a DJI Mini 3, smaller, adapted to carry explosives. Some hitmen wear a patch with the inscription Drone Operator CJNG and a skull with propellers, symbolism that reinforces their strategy of propaganda to project power. Intelligence sources from Jalisco revealed that members of the CJNG traveled to Ukraine to receive training in military drone operation and urban guerrilla warfare, hence their ability to advance in pairs, take cover, shoot, and fall back following military protocols. Specialists highlight the participation of women in this type of cell, a reflection of the cultural shift within organized crime, where they are no longer limited to logistical roles, but also participate in combat. The production of these videos, the use of drones, the emblems, and the coordination confirm that this is a propaganda strategy to spread fear. Okay. All right. So I'm sorry. It's hard to imagine that you would have these drug cartels training in Ukraine without the Ukrainian government and without the United States intelligence services knowing about it. How would that happen? How would they get into this country that is heavily surveilled, where we've got a lot of people on the ground observing the military campaigns there? They just go over there and train. How did they arrange that? Was there a website? You go train for guerrilla tactics in Ukraine. So that is very suspicious. I'm sure, based on that report, that some of these weapons have probably come through Israel. That's probably part of why they have such a heavy preponderance of American weapons. But that Ukraine connection definitely deserves more scrutiny. Like, who did they arrange that with? Were they training with units of the Ukrainian military? And how could that happen without the United States knowing about it? So, I mean, a lot of people have said that these cartels are working with U.S. intelligence agencies. It's part of their tactic for sowing chaos. They really don't like Scheinbaum. That could be an element of it. Our intelligence services have a long history of working with organized crime on both sides of the border, from working with the Italian mob in the United States and their plots to kill Castro and various other things. You know, if you ever saw the movie Mississippi Burning, the part that they don't tell you about how they scared the Klansmen was the guy Greg Scarpa, a mafia hitman down there. He was the guy who actually they put in a shack with these Klan guys. So there's a long history of and of course around Contra and smuggling cocaine. So there's a long history of the intelligence services working with organized crime and drug dealers. It's certainly possible. I mean, 80% of the weapons, it's hard to imagine that happens without the American government's knowledge. And that is not a Trump thing. That's a long-standing relationship.
Well, you notice they were kind of lukewarm in their endorsement of the Mexican government's crackdown, right? They say, yeah, we commend the Mexican military, right? I mean, you would think they would get out in front of this, and
right.
really boast that, we're backing, Scheinbaum's efforts to crack down on the cartels. Instead, they kind of waited until after the fact to make a statement, because at that point, what are they going to do? I mean, what are they going to trash her? After she does this, that would be pretty transparent. But yeah, no, look, of course it's suspicious. I mean, look, Ukraine, I mean, that's not the easiest place to get in and out of. Just that act alone.
How could they not know?
Yeah.
How could they not know a whole ass drug cartel is coming over from Mexico to train there?
Right. It makes no sense at all. None at all. All right. Let's go to some Rumble rants over here. Siddhartha Vicious, I'm reclaiming the chud slur for us cannibal humanoid underground dwellers. Thank you, Siddhartha Vicious. The Anticus Prime, gotta suck up the cancer, gotta suck up the extra cases of tariffs, gotta suck a fish. Oh man, things just suck. Thank you. Raven Laz says RFK Jr. Oh, you believed in MAHA? I got a glyphosate vaccine to sell you. Olympus Scout, the problem with glyphosate is the U.S. food industry must overproduce at excess amounts to maintain profits. It isn't about producing enough to feed everyone. It's about overproducing for profit margin. Well, I mean, we have farm subsidies for that exact reason, because there are fluctuations in demand. Right. And so, ideally, farm subsidies are supposed to cover them for that shit. Maybe you need to increase those farm subsidies so that they're covered, because this is obviously not a good solution. All right. EO Shush, the only thing missing from RFK Jr.'s letter was the Dow is over 50,000. That's right. Furrows Queen and supply, fluctuations in both supply and demand, obviously, depending on the weather in any given year. Furrows Queen, all the hatred and killing has started again, and this time it's 1,000% worse because the killers understand what they're doing. Quote from the book, The Watch That Ends the Night, 1958. Thank you, Furrows Queen. Mark Pugliese says, I took Arabic. Do you realize that when they use as numbers is completely different from our so-called Arabic numerals? You took Arabic?
I didn't know that.
Bayer is German. It had a hand in Nazi activities during World War II. Feel free to speculate on motivations. My real name got here just in time for your commentary on former future president Greasy Gavin Newsom. Vientica says, fun etymology fact, to fuck actually means to likely beat against something. Hence a colloquial name for a bird called the kestrel is a windfucker. I think it's obvious. Okay, thank you, Vienticus. I remember when I was diagnosed with dyslexia, my parents said, don't worry, Genitilis, no matter how bad your dyslexia gets, you can always call us Mom and Dad. There you go. Thank you. Freddie X, Keaton, your Easter eggs are superb today. I would have given $5, but I used half a roll of paper towels cleaning my keyboard after the not only thing Benny couldn't resist spitting. Thank you. Well, sorry about that. Hope your computer's all right. Bronx Comrade, oy vey, Luna oi. Thanks for correction. I got my Merds Wicked. Great socialist voice from Vietnam. Thank you, Brock's Comrade. Siddhartha Vicious. El Mencho will be replaced by El Puzzo. Jalisco. Jalisco. Is that pronunciation edit? Thank you, my real name. Appreciate that. All right. You got some super chats over there?
I do. Xander Vorkov, if RFK Jr. tells us to suck it up, we should listen. He's speaking from experience. He sure is. J-Spot, this is the only show I watch that never shows up on the main page when you guys are live. Got to go searching for it. We've heard this kind of thing over the years from a lot of people. Like, yeah, I mean, it seems like we're somewhat suppressed in the algorithm. But you know, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
We're working in the digital coal mines here. Sparky, sadly, John Ossoff is just another establishment stooge. Yeah, but he talks pretty. In spite of what the Democrats would have you believe, they're pretty spooked about not picking straight white men for the nominee. Putz the Mouse. The cartel avoids civilian casualties. Maybe Israel could learn something. I mean, they did in this operation. It seems like they wanted to send a message and not cross a certain line yet. DC, it's pronounced Jalisco.
Oh, is that what the guy was saying? Okay.
Guero. ASM, what do you guys view on Eagles? Would you agree they're the greatest U.S. band of all time? No.
No.
Especially
No. What kind of claim is that?
Not even close.
No.
Eagles, the greatest U.S. band of all time?
No. I don't even think Eagles are top 100 greatest band. I wouldn't even put them in the top 100, I don't think.
I mean, you know, I like some Eagles stuff, but
yeah. The Eagles, I mean, Eagles are they're kind of like you too. Like, yeah, they have some great songs, you know. But yeah, no, they're not not even close.
Reno Drone Zone, long time sub, first time super chatter. Thank you. Just want to say some of us out here are using drones for good. So I love you both. Carry on. Yeah, you see a lot of them out this way actually. Sir Lion of Beef, loin of beef. Russ, you're killing Jalisco. It's not Jalisco. It's pronounced Jalisco. Hope that helps. Now,
I tell you, we made a lot of money saying it wrong, so you're not incentivizing us to get it right.
I mean, I'm going to keep saying things wrong for the money.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I mean, that worked out. I mean, if that bothered you, the Lion of Beef thing must have given you a conniption. The Rotten Flesh, Prescott Bush through Brown Brothers Harriman, NYC kickstarted the Third Reich. That is George Bush Sr.'s grandfather, I think. Yeah. He was a banker for the Nazis, right? JDC Jr., I'm just glad you guys like to talk. Thanks. Yeah, well, it's a living.
Yep, that's right. Here, name a band.
Oh.
Yeah, I hate the fucking Eagles. For Jules. Yeah. I don't hate the
Does he say that?
Yeah. He gets picked up, right? He gets picked up in the car. He says, "Come on, man, I hate the fucking Eagles." That's why he gets thrown out of the cab. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're not terrible. They're not like bad, but no, I wouldn't even put them in the top 100. Everybody that people's mentioning in the chat here so far, every band that's been mentioned is better than the Eagles. The Ramones, Buffalo Springfield, obviously Zeppelin, Slayer.
Well, Zeppelin was British.
Yeah. Oh, American band. That's right, American band. Sorry, I forgot he put that qualifier on it. Oh, okay. But yeah, so far all of those are better than the Eagles. There are bands that are worse than the Eagles, but there's a lot of better. Yeah.
Creedence, yeah.
Yeah, Creedence better than the Eagles for sure. 100%. No contest.
The Temptations.
All right. Who?
Temptations.
Oh, much better. Yeah. The world's better. Yeah. No, there's easily 100 American bands better than the Eagles. Easily. No doubt about it.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, see, don't think people are not opinionated over there. They get opinionated everywhere. You get opinions everywhere you go. That's the internet for you. All right, everybody. Well, that's our show. We thank you very, very much for being here. Appreciate you all. Thanks to the mods for keeping the peace in the chat. Thanks to the YouTubers and the Rumblers. We will be on at 8:45 p.m. Eastern time for the State of the Union. It'll be me and Tusker bringing that to you live. Patreon.com/Do Dissidents is where you'll get the email shortly for the invite to join that stream. We will also be taking your calls as well. And if you're watching on Rumble, there's 724 of you watching over there. Listen very carefully, because there's going to inevitably be a few mix-ups in the first few times this happens. We will be streaming our State of the Union supporter stream to Rumble Premium. So when you see on Rumble the Do Dissidents Rumble Premium stream, you can access that by joining Rumble Premium if you'd like. But if you are already a paid member to Do Dissidents on Patreon, Locals, or Substack, you will not need to join Rumble Premium to get that stream. Just check your email. All right? So just so everybody knows, it's going to say Rumble Premium, join. You're welcome to join, because with Rumble Premium, you get all the extra kind of stuff. It's an ad-free version of the Rumble platform. It may be worth it for you to join Rumble Premium as well, just for skipping the ads. That may be worth it. Plus, you also get to watch like great stuff like, bonus Russell Brand and bonus Tim Pool and all that. I mean, who can resist? But you don't have to join Rumble Premium to watch tonight if you're a member with us. So patreon.com/Do Dissidents. We'll see you in 4.5 hours for the State of the Union. And then we'll see Russ again Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Hundreds of better streams. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that, we agree.
On that, we agree. On that, we agree. On that, you're right. On that, you're right. Until we do see you again, thanks very much, everybody, for spending the afternoon with us. Once again, be safe and be well.
Courage.
Please clap.